Hello and welcome to my creative space. Welcome to another DIY video. Today I have put together 50 plus Christmas DIYs. You're gonna find lots of inspo. Grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's get started.
For this project, I'm going to be using this wooden round that has been used before, as well as this candle holder. I'm going to use some black chalk paint, some Dollar Tree greenery from last year Christmas season, some stain, and some pine cones. First thing I'm going to do is grab my candle holder and spray paint it black. I know they sell them in black. I just don't have one of those, so I'm going to have to do the little extra step. Now, I'm going to take this wooden round, and as you can see, it's been used. And if you know which project that was, leave a comment down below. Now, I'm going to be using the painter's tape. I am not 100% sure, but I think this tape is from Dollar Tree. I know they do sell them, and it works just fine. Since this one it's already marked with paint, I'm going based on what's already there. If you're starting with a brand new one, then just find your half or as close as you can to the half and just tape it in. And then once we got that tape down, we are going to take our black chalk paint. This one is from Folk Arc, is the black chalk paint. If you need info on it, there will be a link down below. You can find it on Amazon very easily. I will give this a good coat of black paint. I have to say I love this paint. It's very thick and I always only need one coat. And don't forget to paint the edges. You don't want this to be all crazy and not looking good. So once I do that, I turn it around and I'm going to paint what was already green. We're going to paint it black. Now that we have that done, I'm removing the tape and I will be applying more tape on top of it. This time we're going to place it where the black is and we are going to stain the bare wooden part of it. I'm using the Waverly Antique Wax. I just grab a napkin or I guess a paper towel and I wet it and then I use that to spread the paint on there and stain it very good. Now the back it's already stained, but it was a slightly different color, so I'm going on top of it with this Waverly stain. Now that that is done, we are going to remove the tape that we placed there. And how cute is that? Now, I did miss a little bit. I didn't do a good job with the tape, so I'm just going in and covering that little piece with the stain. Now here is what a round looks like, and I'm going to be taking these vinyl cutouts. I use my Cricut machine and I cut on white vinyl the word Merry Christmas, or I guess the words Merry Christmas, and I'm going to be placing them. Now you can choose a different color. I decided to go with neutrals. You know I'm a sucker for neutrals, so that's what we're doing here. But you can paint this any color you want and it will look, you know, as amazing as this one. Now once I place my first one on there, we are going to place the other one, and I have to say this was not perfect. I did notice that the word on top was slightly crooked, but you know, it ends up looking amazing anyway, and maybe you didn't notice and I just told you so. You're welcome. Now once I'm done removing the transfer, this is what it's looking like. And once that is done, we are moving to the next step. Do you have Christmas colors in your mind that you want to use? I would love to know, because you know I'm always looking for inspo. Now here is what our wooden round looks like. We are taking our candle holder and we are going to be gluing this wooden round right on top. Now you don't have to do this part. You could create this, or I guess do this as a wreath, but you know me, I love doing different things and I love making things big. So I am going for this cute sign and it's going to be perfect for Christmas. Now that I glue that with the tumbling blocks, I put one on the front, one in the back. Now you can paint these black. I honestly was lazy and didn't want to do it. And also I'm going to cover it with this greenery anyway, and I wasn't going to see it anyway, so that's why I didn't do it. I'm recycling stuff I already had in hand. I honestly have not been to Dollar Tree to find out what they came out new this year, but I'm really excited. But I promised myself I was going to use what I already had from last year to get this started and then decide what else I need to buy, because I was left with a lot of fall stuff and I don't know if anybody's interested in fall decor, but let me know. I would love to know. Now, as you can see, I created this cute greenery piece to go at the bottom. I will be adding another one to the back because I want to cover the tumbling blocks. And honestly, you can even make this the exact same, you know, Merry Christmas at the front, do it at the back, and use this as a centerpiece if you wanted to. I'm not going to use it as a centerpiece, so that's why I only put it on one side, but it's definitely a great idea. Now, I had these pine cones from Target. It was a bag. I think it has like 10, maybe more, for like $3. So I was super excited to find them. I got them like a couple of weeks ago. And I got to use one of them in this video. So now, as you can see, I'm just adding extra greenery to fill in the spaces where the tumbling block is still showing. And then once that is done, it's looking super cute. Ignore my water bottle. It was holding the pine cone while I did the other stuff. Now, I had this really cute small wreath from Dollar Tree from last year, and I'm grabbing 3 of these cutesy little pine cones. Well, I'm gonna grab 2 right now, and I'm gonna put one on each side, on the side of the big one, or one on each side of the big one. I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry, it's really late right now. But so I'm doing that, and then I'm just adding extra greenery wherever I think I needed. And then I will turn this around, and I will be doing the exact same thing. I will be adding greenery where the tumbling block shows, and then I'm going to take 3 little pine cones from that same wreath, and I will be gluing them on there. And that is all for this project. I hope you love it. Let me know what you think. Are you going to give it a try? Do you have any thoughts? I would love to know down below. And now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using this cute wooden truck from Dollar Tree, as well as this scrap of wood. I'm also going to need some wooden numbers from Dollar Tree, and these tags from Dollar Tree as well, some Velcro, and I'm also going to be using white, black, and stain, and you can use stickers. I personally will be using vinyl. There's also this felt letters that Dollar Tree sells. Now, I'm going to start with this scrap of wood, and this one measures 14 inches, I believe. If it's not 12, it's 14. I'm sorry, I forgot how much it measures. I'm going to take my antique wax and the same paper towel I used on my past project. I will be using it to stain my wooden piece, and then once it's completely stained, we're going to let it dry. I'm going to start with the cute little truck by removing the hanger that we don't need. Now, I will say this right now. If you have something to fill in the hole on this truck from where the hanger was, go ahead and do that, unless you're not nitpicky like me. It bothered me when I was done. So if you want to cover it up, you can do it with some plaster or even some hot glue and just cover it up and then put paint on top. And I promise you it's going to look way better. Now, I'm starting with the truck. As you can see, I went in with black paint for the tires. I was not happy about my tires. They look weird, but we're going to go with the flow. And then I have this silver paint from Folk Arc, and I'm using that to paint the fender and the quarter panel on this vehicle or this little truck. And then I just gave it one good coat of it, and it was fine. I would say I should have tried putting white paint first and then the silver and see if that made it a lot more shinier, because I feel like the wooden product, or I guess the wood on this truck kind of absorbed it and it wasn't as shiny. Maybe it's just me, but I mean, it's just a thought. Maybe try it and let me know if that's it. And then I decided to go with white for my truck. Definitely optional, painted whatever color you want. I'm going for neutrals as always, so that's why I went with white. And then for our bed, I am doing white paint in between these, I guess, what are they? I don't even know what they're called. But, you know, in between those pieces on the back of this truck. I suck at explaining things. I'm sorry. I promise you I try really hard. And then don't forget the edges. You don't want this truck to look crazy with, you know, painted black or white or whatever color, and then the sides are like bare. And then I'm going to use the antique wax to paint these rails, I guess, on the truck. And I do that with a very small brush so I don't get this stain all over my white truck. And then once it's completely covered, I am going to go back to my truck again, and I'm going to paint the rims the same silver color. I could not decide what color to use, so we are going with silver again. And then once that is completely done, we are going to do the rear bumper and the front bumper. I decided to use black, but feel free to use yellow for the lights on the front and red for the back of the truck. Now we're moving forward to the numbers. If you don't know this already, we are making a countdown to Christmas, and I'm using these wooden numbers from Dollar Tree in Velcro. I'm going to glue Velcro to the numbers to be able to switch them around once the countdown starts. I know it will be a very fun thing to do for my daughter. She loves doing countdowns. You know, she's always excited for Christmas. So I was excited to do this one for her this year. Last year we had a Christmas tree with numbers. It will be showing right here on your top right corner. Click on it if you're interested. And this year I'm doing this one. Now I take the tags from Dollar Tree and I glue Velcro on them. And here is what the tags look like with the numbers. Now I'm taking two hooks. One end is the hook and the other end has a screw. These are really easy to do. I use my hands to screw them into place. Now you can definitely glue the tags. I just thought that the hooks were better. I felt like they gave me a better look. That's, you know, a preference. But yeah, so this is what this looks like. I just screw one hook on there and then I just figure where the other one needs to go, and we are going to screw it into place as well. Again, very simple, easy to do. And here I am putting the number back on there and that's what it looks like. Now I am going to take my truck and I'm gonna use 4 wooden cubes. These cubes are from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue 2 on each end. These cubes are going to help me with my truck to be able to stand in place and not fall apart. So you can stain these ones before you glue them. I didn't do that. And, you know, as I always say, I make the mistakes so you don't make them. So there is that. Now I decided I want my truck to hold my numbers, and so I grabbed some popsicle sticks. These are also from Dollar Tree, and I kind of just DIY'd a box. This is going to be behind my truck, so don't mind my ugly box. I am definitely not proud of this one, but it works. I promise you it works. And then I just hot glue 3 popsicle sticks on each side. And here is what it looks like. I mean, it's not amazing, but it does the trick. And then using my Cricut machine and some vinyl, I cut the words Days Till Christmas. And I'm going to place them right next to the tags. And we are almost done. Let me know what you think about this project. Definitely love this one, and I know my daughter's gonna love it as well. She loves interactive countdown to Christmas, so there is that. Now this is all coming along. We got a few more details to add and we will be done. Definitely you can leave it as is and it'll be perfect, but I don't want to stop there. I want to go the little extra step. I have these little branches from Dollar Tree, or I guess, what are these? I don't even know what they're called. I'm sorry. But I'm going to grab some of them and I'm going to glue them as if the truck was actually, you know, holding them. So have fun. These were put here so they can retain my numbers into place, and it works like a charm. I absolutely love it. And then it's super cute. Like, it gives that look like the truck is actually carrying some wood because it's Christmas. So there is that. You know, this was like a last minute decision and I was really, really happy. And then once that is done, all that's left is to put our numbers on there and it's ready for countdown to Christmas. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you going to try it? I would love to know. And now let's take a look at the end result. the next project, and also my personal favorite in this video, I'm going to be using 3 houses from Dollar Tree, that scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby, another scrap of wood. I'm also going to use some chalk paint in the color black, some white and brown vinyl, pink and red as well. And then I'm going to start with the scrap of wood. I want to say this one measures 17 inches. I could be wrong. Maybe it's 15. I am so sorry. I will measure it and leave it down below in the comment section. I used the chalk paint to paint this completely in black. I gave it 1 good coat of paint, and again, I love this paint because it's so thick. I don't need to go back with more layers. Now I'm taking these houses from Dollar Tree. I purchased this ones sometime in the summer, and I had them laying around and I could not figure out what to do with them. And I will say this project turns out amazing and it's my personal favorite. I removed the back of them, and then I used my sand block to get rid of the paper that is still left on the houses. Just very careful to not, disturb the grain on this. And then I do the same thing to the other side, and here is what it looks like. Now I am going to take the backs of them and kind of just sand it down to make it a little bit more smooth for the next step. Now the next step is to grab our scrapbook paper. Make your choice. I had this one and I was dying to use it, so I'm going to trace both of these houses, or I guess backs, and I will trace them on there with a pencil, and then I will cut them with some scissors. And here are both of them. Now I will be using some glue. You can use Mod Podge. These, I feel like they're going to be fine just with this glue, so I'm just going to add this what is this called, like glue stick? Yeah, it's a glue stick. I'm sorry, again, it's really late. I'm doing the voiceover and it's really late and I'm sleepy, so I apologize for that. My brain is not functioning right. But anyway, as you can see, that glue stick works just fine, so I'll do the other one off camera. And now the most exciting part of this video is putting these houses together. So I came up with the idea of having these houses in a gingerbread inside of each house. Now I did something similar for Easter where I used the bunny wooden cutouts and I put my name, my daughter's name, and my husband's name in it. And then when I saw these houses, I only had 2, the wooden ones. And then I was like, I need a 3rd one. And then I ran into the galvanized one and I was like, this is perfect because it gives it that, little bit of different color and like texture to it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna work just fine. So I grabbed my computer and on Design Space, I started putting this together. I found the gingerbread and then I picked my fonts for the letters and I was like, this is going to be adorable. So I'm in love with this one and I hope you love it as well. And I hope you give it a try. I hope you do something with this because I just think it's so adorable. You have to do it. But as you can see, before I glue the backs onto the houses, I put the gingerbread on there. I know this one's missing eyes. I promise you we're going to get to it. There is a reason why we don't have that yet. So when I cut everything, it was really late again. And so I accidentally threw away the eyes. So when I realized I needed the eyes, I was like, oh my gosh. So I was digging in the trash until I found them. Okay. I was so committed to finding the eyes because I was like, I don't have time to get my Cricut machine out, my computer out again, and do all of this again. I was like, I don't have time. So thank God I found them. So I go, afterwards and put the eyes on there. So we got eyes. But, definitely a journey to get there. Now, how cute is this one? This one has a bow. I was like, I'm in love with these ones. It's such a cute idea. And it's perfect. I love it. Now, I'm gluing the houses back. I'm not putting a lot of glue. I'm just putting little dots around the house. And that is it. Now, this is the house that I was talking about. I remove the bottom of this, which is what makes it stand, and then put the screws to the side. We are going to need them. Here is what all the houses look like. You can definitely use them as they are right now, but me being extra, I was like, no, I need more. And so I did. So the scrap of wood, we painted black. I am going to place our family name on there. I use some vinyl and the Cricut machine to do that. And we're just going to add it. Now we're going to have our names at the top and our family name at the bottom. And we are almost done. A few more steps. And before we move forward, I do want to give a special shout out to my best friend and her husband because they actually donated this scrap of wood, the 2x4. Thank you so much. They came so handy for this project. Now, all I'm going to be doing is gluing the houses on top of our sign, or I guess on top of this piece. And using the ruler, I guide myself to make sure that they are even. And then the cute little house, this one actually came with screws. Remember, I told you to save them. We're gonna use them now. I do end up adding a little bit of glue to hold this house into place, so I'm able to screw the screws in there. And that is all for this project. This is my personal favorite project. Let me know down below which one is your favorite. I would love to know. And now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm using this box from Dollar Tree, floral foam, pine cones from Target, $3, great deal, some greenery from last year, a ring, as well as this candle top, some black paint, and this metal piece and that wooden ring. I'm going to start with the candle top. We're going to spray paint it black. Next, I had this butterfly that I was planning on using, but this metal is so thick and I could not cut it. So I decided to switch to this pumpkin. I was really sad that I cut it because I really love this one, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So once I had that piece, I cut that piece in half and we are going to be creating the top of an ornament. Now I cut one piece and then I placed the other piece on top and I kind of just mimic what I just did, cut it out. And once that is completed, I will show you what it looks like. It's kind of messy right now, but I promise you it ends up looking really, really cute. Now here's my two pieces. Right now they're showing right now on screen. And then I had this wooden ring from Dollar Tree. It comes in a pack of like 6 if I'm not mistaken. I take one of this and I am going to use this silver paint I used earlier from Folk Ark and covering it completely. Now I am going to take the wooden box and the floral foam, and this is way too high, so I am going to cut it in half. This one was very tough to cut, but we did it. And once I cut this in half, I take one of the halves, place it into the box, and I kind of use my scissors to cut off what was kind of like very bulky and thick. And then I cut the other piece into smaller pieces and filled my box completely. And now I'm taking some hot glue and running it through the middle, and then taking my ring and placing it right on there. Add a whole bunch of hot glue and then just wait until it dries and holds into place. I'm taking some floral moss and placing it right on top of this box to cover up the floral. Now, once that is completed, I don't glue anything into place. I didn't glue the floral foam or the reindeer moss, but you're more than welcome to do that. And now here is what the box looks like. Now you can also paint this box any color you like, and I do end up changing my mind later. You will see. For now, I'm going to take some greenery. This is actually from last year. I haven't been to Dollar Tree recently to see if they even have anything Christmas related. So I don't know what's new. We're recycling what I already had. And remember the Kindle lid that we spray painted earlier? Well, that's the one we just placed in the middle. We're going to be using that as a Kindle holder. Now, all I'm going to do is fill in with all this greenery. This was my personal favorite greenery last year. I'm pretty sure they're back. And I've seen a few influencers or creators or crafters show what they've seen at their Dollar Tree. And I'm excited. I want to go, but it's dangerous when I go because I buy all kinds of things and then I'm left over, with things that I don't know. I'm gonna have to like make a budget or something. I'll figure this out later. Okay, as you can see, I grabbed my 2 middle pieces we cut earlier, and I want this to look like an ornament, and so I grabbed the 2 pieces. One, I glue it on the front and one on the back of this ring, and then I take the extra ring that we painted silver and glue it right in the middle. And to me, this looks like an ornament, and definitely let me know in the comments down below what you think. Now I'm just adding the little last details, which is the candle and some pine cones. I thought I wanted to use 4 pine cones, and then I was like, no, 6 will be better, and so we go with 6 pine cones. And that completes this project. I absolutely love every single one of them. You already know which one was my favorite for sure. And that is all. Let me know down below. Also, here is the part that I was talking about. I changed my mind and I decided to stain my box a little darker, and I was a lot more happy. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And now let's take a look at the end result. This project, I'm taking 3 of these Dollar Tree signs. The black one is a little bit longer. I'm also going to use these 2 wooden planks from Dollar Tree. They're 1.5 feet long. I will use some fabric, these placemats in the colors black and red. I will use black, white, and red paint as well. And then I am using some ribbons as well. Then I will take 2 of scraps of woods, 2x4. Now I'm starting with the 2x4s and the black sign. I will be using my chalk black paint to give them a coat. I will be painting the sign from both sides just so the color is even, and then I will give 1 good coat of paint to the wooden planks. Once that is done, we are going to let it dry and we are moving to the next one. I will be using the 2 square signs. One of them will be painted white and the other one is going to be painted red. These presents are going to be, I needed them to be white and red because the colors that we're going to be placing on top of them, and you'll see here in a little bit. As you can see, I ran out of red paint, so the back is going to have to be black. Okay, I'm starting with the black sign and the black and white mat. Now you can glue it as is, but I really want to get those stripes on there, so I will be trimming mine. I will be trimming, 1/2 is going to be the thicker stripes, and then the other half we're gonna have to cut it and place it on there to fill in that other space. You'll see what I mean here in a little bit. You definitely don't have to do this. I just want those stripes on there, so that's why I'm going the extra step. As you can see now, I am cutting what I am not going to use and then placing that mat on there. I will be taking hot glue to glue these together. So I'll start with one of the mats. As you can see, the stripes on the end of this, I really wanted them, so that's why I decided to go this route. And then we're going to place the other one right next to it. And as you can see, now you have more stripes on there, which is what I really wanted, to make it look like an actual gift, or at least in my eyes. And then I do some hot glue. Once I secure the ends, I'm going to start gluing the rest. And yeah, so we're gonna glue it and then we'll jump into the next step. Now I am going to take this red ribbon I got from Dollar Tree, and we are going to finish wrapping up this gift. Now you can pick any colors you want. I really wanted to stick with black, red, and white, so that's why I decided to go with these colors. And so since this gift is already white and black, we are going to give it a red ribbon. Now there's nothing fancy or special about these ribbons, or I guess this bow that we're about to give it. Definitely, you know, it's going to be pretty simple. Again, this is going to be used for my outdoors. So I'm hoping that by covering up this sign with the plastic mat is going to help it with the weather and all of that. That's why when I saw this placemats, I was like, yes, I need them. So as you can see, I covered up the gift. I did crisscross on there, and then I created this really simple bow, and then I found this other ribbon bows that I had from last year. They come in a pack of 2, and I'm sure you've seen them all year round in different colors for different seasons. So I'm going to be using that ribbon right on top to make it look a lot more like a gift. And there you have the first gift. For the next one, we are grabbing the white sign we painted, and I am going to be using the white fabric. I could not find a placemat that was white, so that's why I decided to cover up this one with fabric, which it should be fine for outdoors. I'm hoping it stays white for a while, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to take the fabric and glue part of it on the back, and then I'll glue the other one. Just tug on it to make sure that everything is really tight and you don't have any creases in the front. And then I'm not cutting any of this fabric. I'm just going to glue it to the back, and I will be using hot glue for that as well. Just make sure that you secure it very well, because at least mine are going to be sitting outside and you want it to be weatherproof, right? So yes, just secure them very well and you're good to go. Now for this one, we are going to give it a red bow as well. And this one is just going to go in the top. So I take this mesh from Dollar Tree. It's actually from last year, but I saw it already in stores this year. I'm just going to create two simple loops on each, and then I'll zip tie it together. And then as you can see, there's one down there already. I'm not doing nothing fancy with this. I really don't know how to make like fancy bows, so we're going to create simple bows, and then we're going to stack them together like so. And then the remainder of that mesh, we are going to zip tie it there so it can give our little bow some tails. And then we'll zip tying those pieces together, and that is your bow. Now I couldn't decide what to do for the middle to cover it up, and I saw that I had some really cute ornaments that were red, and I was like, these are perfect. So I decided to take them, remove the hangers off of them, glue them together, and now they look to me like a mistletoe, or like the red berries, I guess I should say, the red berries. So I'm gluing them together, and then we are going to glue those right in the middle of this bow. And yes, that is it for this bow. And then all that's left is to grab it and glue the bow onto our gift. For the red gift, I'm taking the red and white mat, and as you can see, the back was black because we ran out of paint, so one side is going to have to be black, but the red one is going to face forward, so it's fine. Now, these mats are actually about the same size of this sign, so they'll be totally fine. You don't need to trim nothing off of them. Well, you will to fill in the space that we have, that we don't have enough mat for. But as you can see at the bottom, I just grabbed the tiniest piece and glue it to the back, and then we are going to add hot glue to the front just to secure this mat to the front of this sign, and be able to have it completely secured on there. Now, how cute is this? I love this mat. It's perfect. I saw it and I was like, these look like wrapping paper, so I'm gonna create some gifts. And I was like, hopefully when I first grabbed them, I was like, hopefully my idea comes to life, and I think I completed it. I was really happy with it, so we'll see. Now, as you can see, we're just gluing the rest on the back, and then I just cut that extra other piece to covering up the back of this gift. Now, for this one, I'm going to be giving a black bow, and I had these from Dollar Tree. The tool is actually from the Halloween season, and it's supposed to glow in the dark. It glows, but like really light, like nothing crazy, but I thought it was perfect for this. And then this other piece of ribbon, I had it left over from a Halloween bow I DIY'd, so we're using that. And then once we glue it to the back, sorry about these random noises. Ashlyn is here and she can't stay still. I'm sorry. So anyways, going back to the gift. Now that I glue that on the back and it's ready to go almost, I'm taking the tool and I'm going to do another simple bow. You've seen me do this before. I just loop it around until I use the entire piece of tool, and then we just cinch it in the middle, and that creates a really cute bow. You will see right now that I'm almost done wrapping it. I don't know why I didn't finish using this entire piece. I guess I thought I was gonna use it, but anyway, you don't have to trim it. Just wrap it around until you run out of the tool, and then cinch it in the middle. Grab a zip tie. I'm gonna zip tie it in the middle, cinch it, and there you have the cute little bow. Now, I had a little piece left from that other ribbon we used, and I'm gonna use that to cover up the middle. And it's as simple as that. Once that is completely covered, I just trimmed what I don't need, completely glue it back in there. And that is all for this one. Then all is left is to glue it right on top. And how cute is this gift? And now it is time to put all these pieces together. Here are the gifts, the wooden planks. Now let's get to it. Okay, so I'm taking the two black wooden planks or scraps of wood, and I'm going to find the middle on each one, and I'm using a ribbon for that. Now I'm taking the first Dollar Tree wooden plank, and I'm going to glue it to the middle of this black one. And then once that one is secure, we're going to add more hot glue and glue it together. You can definitely nail these together. I think they'll be fine, but definitely an option. Now to attach these two wooden pieces together, I'm using some popsicle sticks and a lot of hot glue. Again, feel free to nail them together or staple them together. I tested them and they're totally fine. Now I'm going to start with the black gifts that we did and glue it right to the middle of this. That was the reason why I needed this to be a different size, just so they can actually look like gifts and then be able to, attach them the way I was picturing in my head. Now the white one is going to go in the middle and the red one is going to go at the very top. I'm adding hot glue, and I will tell you right now, you will need tumbling blocks because at least the way I attach my gifts, the white one was kind of sitting in the air in the middle, so I had to go back in there, and you'll see here in a little bit how I had to attach that there. And then the red one, you just glue it right on top and under the white gifts. And now we turn it over. I grab the tumbling block and I'm going to glue it right there. As you can see, it was definitely on the air and I needed something to secure it. And then after that, I just added a bunch of hot glue. And then some of these were still wiggling from me trying to figure out how to glue them, so I'm just adding hot glue where it needs to go so they can finally attach all together. And that completes this project. Let's take a look. For this super easy and cute project, I will be using this scrap of wood I had laying around. It measures about 18 inches long. I'm also going to use some of the Dollar Tree faux snow, Christmas trees. These bigger ones are actually from Hobby Lobby. I got them, they were half price off. And then I'm also going to be using these two adorable snowflakes I found at Dollar Tree. Okay, I'm going to start by drilling a hole in this wood before we do anything else. The reason why is because we are going to be sticking our snowflakes in there. So I just, try to mimic what I did on the other side, make sure that they're gonna be even on both sides, and then I just grab my drill and I drill the hole. The reason why I did this is because the snowflake will not stand any other way. You would probably have to add a lot of hot glue and then sit there and wait until it dries, and I was not willing to do that, so that's why I did this part. Okay, now I don't have any Mod Podge or any other glue, so I'm using this wood glue to glue the snow to our wooden piece. Now, you can use definitely Mod Podge if you have some, but wood glue works just as fine, I promise. But I guess it's like a waste of glue if you really think about it, because you could really use that for a different project. But anyway, that's what we got and that's what we're gonna work with. Now I'm just spreading the snow right on top and then just patting it down to make sure that everything's covered up. And then it's really simple and easy. You just continue to do the exact same thing until you cover it up completely. Now that that is completely covered, here is where we come with our snowflakes and we glue them to the hole that we created. And then I just added additional glue at the bottom and more snow to cover it up. And that is it for that part. Next is adding all our Christmas trees, and the pack I bought from Hobby Lobby comes with this bigger one, so I'm gonna glue right in the middle. I was thinking about it and I was like, I should have done like candles on this because this is supposed to be going on my back porch and, for the Christmas season. And I was like, I should have done candles. So just an idea out there you might want to consider. I think it will look super cute with all the Christmas trees and then the candles. I might redo this. I don't know yet, but yeah, that's what we got right now. So, or you can even add the little candles, right, all over. I'll see what I can do to kind of fix this. But now I'm just adding all the Christmas trees, just spreading them all around. And this is a super easy project and it looks so adorable. Once you set it outside, you can even, I might add twinkle lights. We'll see. Stay tuned for that. But yes, that is all for that project. It was super easy to do. Now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using a yard of this fabric I purchased from Michaels. It was almost $9. I'm also going to use some cotton twine, some yarn from Dollar Tree, these ribbons from Hobby Lobby, and fall leather from from Dollar Tree. Now, I'm also going to be needing a pillowcase or polyfill. Now, I'm going to start with this pillowcase that is the size of this pillow that I'm going to be using. So I'll trace that with my pencil. I am going to be cutting it a little bit bigger because we want to be able to sew this or glue this together. So that's what I did. I traced it and then I go in with my scissors. Now, if you're going to be doing polyfill, then instead of an actual pillow, then don't worry about it. You're gonna seal it and it's gonna be fine. For me, I want to be able to reuse my pillows, so I'm making pillowcases. Now, I grab this pillowcase again and I'm going to trace it again. This time is going to be the exact same size because that is where we are going to be sewing. Now, one side is not traced because it's already closed from where we folded, so that is going to be totally fine. Before we move on to the pillow, we are going to be making the stuff that we're going to use to decorate our pillows. So I'm going to create pom-poms. I used the yarn from Dollar Tree and the red and white cotton twine to give it that Christmas look. And then, as you can see, I wrapped it around my hand, and then we are going to wrap it in the middle with an extra piece that is going to be longer. And then you just tie it really well, and then you just trim the ends. Now, don't cut that piece that we just used to tie it because we are going to use that to attach to the pillow. So hold those long strings, don't cut them off. And here is our cute little pom-pom. How cute is that? I'm making 4 pom-poms. On one pillow, I end up making white and red, and then the other one's red, white, cotton twine only. So I hope that makes sense. Then I take a piece of paper and I'm going to free cut or freehand a Christmas tree. These Christmas trees are not perfect, but I think they turn out super cute. Now I use the fall leather and I'm going to trace the Christmas tree. I also end up cutting another small one, and I'm going to cut one of the big ones and 2 of the small ones so we can add them to the pillows. Now I use my scissors to trim that off, and once that is done, here is I'm almost done cutting this off. Sorry, I'm trying to go ahead of myself. I need some coffee. Here's the Christmas tree. How cute is that? And then here is the other 2 little ones I was talking about. So you're gonna need 2 little ones and 1 big one. Now I'm going to take the big tree and I'm going to hot glue the ribbon on there. These are pom-pom ribbon, and I got it from Hobby Lobby, but it was the time where it was 50% off. So yes, it says $2.99, so I probably end up paying like $1.50 for it. And it's a really good deal to me. At least I love the ribbons, and I thought it was perfect because it looks like snow on there, at least to me. Let me know what you think, if you would have done something different. But yeah, so I'm just hot gluing it onto the tree. I can't speak, I'm so sorry. Now you could definitely sew this. I just don't have the time to do that right now. I really wanted to sew this together because I want to be able to wash my stuff. But, sometimes you don't have time. But if you have the time, then I would definitely recommend you to sew all of this together so you're able to reuse it and, wash it and stuff. Okay, now we are going to take our soon-to-be pillowcase, and I grab my 4 pom-poms and I'm adding them to the corners. That is just so I can see exactly where they need to sit. And then I grab my thread and my needle, and I'm going to start sewing this together. Now, I'm no professional at all, so don't come for me. I'm just going to do what I think it's good and what's best. So that's what we're doing here. So I attach my pom-poms to the corners, simple, easy. And then I just did a few loops, and then I just create a knot and secure them inside, and that's good. Now we're going to put the pom-poms inside the pillow, which is going to be the outside, to be able to show them, because if you sew them how we had them sewing, then once you turn the inside out, those pom-poms are going to be on the inside, not the outside. So make sure that you are putting your pom-poms where they need to go. Now it's time to sew, and I'm going to do a simple running stitch, I think it's called. And yes, again, I'm no professional. I'm just giving you some ideas. And yes, so I think this pillow turns out super cute though. But yes, so now I am at the end, and then I'm gonna continue sewing the rest of it one by one. And then don't forget to leave the hole where we're going to stuff our pillow, or if you're gonna do polyfill, then just leave a little space so you can stuff that polyfill in there. Now I have this Velcro from Dollar Tree, and I really didn't want to use hot glue again because I really want to be able to reuse my pillows, but I could not find my fabric glue at all. And so I had to use the hot glue to sew the top. So I just fold the top to make it look nice, and then we are going to go with the Velcro. Now, I will probably go back in there. I have a sewing machine. I might go back and sew this together so I can reuse it, even though I already use hot glue. But yeah, definitely, if you're good at sewing, I would say sew it together instead of, using hot glue. It looks a lot better and it will last you a lot longer. But yeah, so I just glued the two ends together. Now we're going to flip the inside out. And here is what the pillow looks like. How cute is this? I absolutely love it. Now, you can leave it as is, but me, I'm extra. I want to add my Christmas trees. Again, I was so mad about not finding my fabric glue, so I'm having to go in with the ugly, hot glue to glue my Christmas trees down. Now, I will tell you right now, when you go in with the Christmas trees, especially if you're using hot glue, I would recommend you to glue the top first and then the bottom, because as you can see here, I had to unglue my Christmas tree to be able to put the little trees on the sides, and that was not pretty. I mean, the glue is already attached to the fabric, the faux leather, so it wasn't a big deal. But I would have hated it for this to be on the fabric, all over the fabric. That's not pretty. But anyway, I'm just attaching one of the little Christmas trees, one to each side of the big one. And then once that is there, you just glue the outside of the little trees, and that is all. All that's left is to add your pillow or your polyfill, and you are done. Now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using some jute twine. Now, ignore the nautical rope. We're not going to use it. I also picked up these two balls from the toy area at Dollar Tree. Most of this stuff is actually from Dollar Tree. This wooden plank as well from Dollar Tree, and then some white paint. And then you just need a skewer or a wooden dowel. I'm using this skewer. First thing I'm going to do is take my wooden plank, and I'm going to paint this completely in white. You can definitely leave it as is or paint it a different color, or you can even stain it. The options are endless. Now I'm going to take the smallest ball, and I'm going to take the skewer. These ones were picked up from Dollar Tree like a year ago, and they're really long, and they're actually a lot more sturdy than the actual just regular skewers, the bamboo skewers. So this was perfect for this project. And these bowls are made out of like foam, so it's really easy for you to stick this wooden dowel or skewer through it. Now I start adding some hot glue, and then I just wrap around my jute twine. Now I decide to pull out the skewer because I don't want that to be stuck there yet. I just kind of stuck it in there to see exactly where it's going to go once we are done filling this bowl completely. Now, I will say I did struggle a little bit once I got to the middle, trying to get this twine around it. So I would suggest you do one half and then start over from the bottom up again until you get to the middle. It was definitely a lot more productive doing it like that. Another thing I wanted to mention is that you can use a styrofoam balls. I didn't find any at my local Dollar Tree, and I did not have time to go running and looking for them. So these balls were actually very handy, and then I feel like they will be a lot easier to work with because I feel like styrofoam melts with hot glue, but that is just my personal opinion. But anyways, here you have it. The first bowl is completely covered. Now I'm just going to take a lighter and kind of burn those little pieces that are sticking out, and that is all. Now I am going to take the second bowl, that it's actually the bigger bowl, and I'm going to run the skewer right through it. Now once I do that, and as you can see, I kind of struggle a little bit. I created different holes. I was trying to find the middle in this ball. Then I'm taking some hot glue and some more jute rope, and I'm going to cover it up completely, and here you have it. Both of them are ready to go. Now the next step is to create a hat, because if you don't know this already, we are creating a super cute adorable snowman. So I create a circle that is going to be the top of our hat, and I'm using paper. I will be cutting these pieces on paper first, and then I'm going to use my fall leather from Dollar Tree, and then I'm gonna cut another strip of paper, and that is 3.5 inches long, and then we are going to cut that piece off as well as the circle. And then once we have that, I'm going to take my longer rectangle piece, and I'm going to mark 1/2 inch on that piece, and then we are going to trace another line, and then we are going to trim little pieces on there. This is so we can circle, or I guess fold it around, and to give our hat a shape. And then as you can see, I'm folding those pieces down because that is going to hold a piece of our hat later on. Now I did the same thing to the circle. As you can see, it's right there to the left, and then I take a bigger circle, which is this tape, and I trace a bigger circle on my fall leather. I didn't create like a template or anything for this one because I really don't need one. What I did is I traced the same circle size in the middle and cut it all off. Now I have my pieces together. As you can see, I have the 3 parts that are going to be creating our hat. Now I am taking the longer rectangle and our circle that we cut earlier, and I'm going to start gluing them. The pieces that we folded are going to be useful for this part. As you can see, the circle has those pieces fold down. That is so we can glue that circle down to our hat and start shaping it. And then once that is glued, all we have to do after this is just put the fall leather right on top. As you can see, it's shaping like a hat now. Then I decided to cut those pieces at the bottom a little bit skinnier, just so they can have more movement on there and be able to like open them up a lot more. And then I'm adding some hot glue around it, and then what we're gonna do is push that piece of fall leather that we cut earlier, that we created the circle in the middle, and push it down, and there you have it. Doesn't it look like a hat already? I think it does. Now I'm going to add the other piece right on there, and I'm going to hot glue it. I don't add glue all around it. I don't see the need for that when you can just add it to the back, the part that you're not going to see, and then you just glue those 2 pieces together, and it's not gonna go anywhere. Now all that's left is to glue the top. I did cut that circle a little bit smaller, but that's okay. I think it still looks adorable, and we're gonna put that hat to the side. Now I'm taking this pack of styrofoam balls that are different colors, and I grabbed 2 of them and cut them in half. I'm taking 3 of those halves, and I'm going to use my chalk black paint to paint them completely, and we're going to let them dry. Now what I'm going to do while that dries is take my wooden plank that we painted white earlier, and I'm going to create a hole right in the middle using my drill. Now that that is there, we are going to add a little bit of hot glue, and then we are going to add our bigger bowl and the skewer right on there. Once that it's secured into place, we are taking the smaller ball and we are going to stick it right on there. And slowly but surely, our snowman is coming to life. Now, I need to give my snowman some eyes and a smile. So I take the hat and kind of just place it there to see where I need to be doing my eyes. And I take the end of the brush, the actual handle part of it, and I start doing little dots on there with some black chalk paint. So I do the smile first. I do the eyes and then the smile. And then I realize that the eyes and the smile are kind of the same size. So I'm going to be using a pencil, and I'm using the eraser portion to do eyes that are a little bit bigger, and I absolutely love it. Now I take another skewer, and these skewers are actually pointy. I take one end, and that is going to be the nose. I just painted orange, and we're gonna let it dry. Now I had this ribbon from Dollar Tree from last year. I cut a piece off. I really didn't like the green on there, so I take the portion that kind of has that neutral color on there, and that is going to be the scarf of our little snowman. And then I just trim the ends a little bit to give that little tassel looking part of it, and then I do it on both ends. And here is what our snowman is looking like. Now our buttons are dried, and I take some hot glue and start gluing them onto the bigger portion of it. And then our nose, our cute little nose, we are going to glue it on there as well. And how cute is this snowman already looking? Now all that's left is to glue our hat on top, and we are almost done. I use hot glue for that. Just make sure that what we glued on the back is on the back, so this hat looks flawless in the front. Now this is extra. I had these signs from Dollar Tree, and it says Happy Holidays, and I really wanted to use them, so I just add that to my little cute snowman, and that completes this project. Now let me show you how adorable and cute this snowman turned out. For this project, I'm using some jute twine as well as some twinkle lights. I'm also going to be using this scrap of wood I had on hand. You can definitely grab these ones from Dollar Tree. You will need about 4 of them to create the size that I am using in this video, and then some black chalk paint. I'm starting with the wooden piece. Now I will show you this, but I will be adding some paint on top of this, and we're going to have to repeat. So I'm going to be tracing a triangle on there to see exactly where I want my Christmas tree to lay. And then once I do that, I'm going to be taking some jute twine, and I'm going to be creating a lot of tassels. I want to say I did like 32 tassels, maybe more than that, maybe like 36 tassels. And it's really easy and simple to do. I just wrapped it around my hand, and then once I had enough, or what was enough for me, I tie it with another piece, and then I just trim it at the end to make it all even. Then here we go again. I'm tying the second one and then cutting the ends, and then we are going to continue to do this until we have plenty to cover up this Christmas tree. Now using my black chalk paint, I'm going to cover up this wooden piece. Now you can definitely leave it as is, but I decided to make this wooden plank black because I feel like my Christmas tree will pop up a lot more. Now once it's completely done, we're going to let it dry. Once it's dry, I'm going back again to trace my triangle on there, and I do the exact same thing I did on when I just showed you earlier. Now I have all my tassels ready to go, so I start placing them. Now I start with the first one right in the middle, and I do want this triangle to get covered with the tassel, so I don't have to erase it or go with paint on top. So I am trying to cover it up with the tassels. Now I use about 8 of them at the bottom, and then I work my way up, and you just start placing them where you think you need them. Now, after I am done gluing all of them, I do go back in there in the spaces that I feel like are too that need more. Then I just create a few more to add them on there. That's why I don't know how many I end up doing. And I guess I could have counted them, but I didn't count them. So there's that. Now here I am going back in there trying to add more tassels where I can still see the paint at the bottom. And then at the very top, I just leave one tassel, and that is all for now. Now I have this wood stems from Dollar Tree. I pick one, and that's going to be the trunk of our tree. And how cute is that? Now, using my eraser on my pencil, I kind of trace the word Christmas, and somehow on this part I'm missing an R, and then later on I'm gonna miss a T, but then at the end I think I spelled it right. So I had this twine wired, and I used that to start shaping my letters. Now, once I had all of them, I kind of placed them on there, and then before I glue anything down, as you can see, now I was missing an R earlier. Now I'm missing a T. But we'll figure it out. Don't worry. The good thing is that I realized that before I finished gluing everything down. So now I'm using hot glue to glue these down. And then I'm like, oh, here, I'm missing a T. So there we have it. I realized that before it was too late. And then I'm finishing up gluing all my letters into place. Now that everything is glued down, or we're finishing up our T, we're going to add a little dot to our eye, and that is all for this part. Now, I almost forgot about my twinkle lights, so I have to go back in there with my drill and drill a hole to the back of this tree to be able to run the lights. Now, when I was doing that, I actually pulled one of the tassels out, so I had to re-glue it, but that's okay. We are going to get this through it. So if you want to add twinkle lights to your Christmas tree, then definitely do it before you do any of the tassel gluing, because you can still do it anyway, but definitely I feel like it's a little bit of extra unneeded work. Now, as you can see, I'm running the lights under the tassels just to kind of hide the wire piece on there, and then at the top you can still kind of see it, but that's okay. We are going to pull that tassel out here in a little bit to hide that piece that was still showing. And then we're gonna finish running this wire piece down, and then just keep lifting those tassels until you are done with this wire piece. And then here I am pulling the tassel at the very top, and then kind of pulling in the wire so you no longer can see it. Now that that is done, all that's left is to glue our box to the back. I still need to add some lights, but that is all for this project. And now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm using some jute twine, this styrofoam cone from Dollar Tree, as well as a wooden stem and some little cute pine cones. I'm going to start with the twine and the the styrofoam cone, and I'm going to be gluing some jute twine. Now, I tried different ways to do this just to try to see what was most efficient, and I decided to glue the stem to the bottom of the tree and then go in with some twine. Definitely, you don't need to do it like this. You could just start by wrapping around from the top to the bottom. I was not sure what I wanted to do, so I kind of struggled here for a little bit, but then I'm like, well, it's going to be more efficient to start from the top. So that's what I end up doing. So I cover the top, and then you just wrap around the cone. You don't need to be gluing every single piece. You can just glue the top, secure it, and then just wrap it around until you get to the bottom. That's what I end up doing with mine, and it's staying put in place. Now, once you get to the bottom, you do want to secure it because you don't want that to unravel or get undone. Now we need to finish up covering the bottom of this cone. So I start around the stem, and then I just work my way out. And then you do want to use hot glue here because you don't want this to again fall off. Now I decide to go around my cone but this time like wider pieces. I don't cover up everything like we did the first time. It just kind of, I was just trying to give some texture to my tree, so I added that extra layer of it. Now here is what my Christmas or soon to be Christmas tree looks like. I decided to add these really cute pine cones to my tree because they are frosted and they have a little bit of glitter, so I decided to add them as a touch. You could leave them as they are, or you could even add some paint, make it look like they actually have snow on them. You know, the options are definitely endless. I decided to go with little pine cones and I think it's super cute. Now I decided I want my tree to sit onto something like a base, so I had this box laying around and I decided to paint this box white. I want this to look like it's actually snow, or like my tree is sitting on like snow, so that's why I decided to go with this. Here is my box. Now I'm taking the little Christmas tree and I'm going to place it right in the middle, and so far I am loving it. Now I wanted to add a star to the top, but this star I was not loving it, so we will switch it here in a little bit. What I'm going to do now is take these 4 styrofoam snowflakes. They are white and they have a little bit of shine to them. I thought that they were great to use for this box, so I glue one on each side of the box and I absolutely love the touch that they give. Now, as you already know, I don't like this star, so I decided to go with this cute little bow that I have pulled from a sign a while ago. And that is all for this project. It was super easy and yet turned out so cute. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do not forget to check out Ellie's and Alyssa's channels. For this project, I'm going to take this wooden plank from Dollar Tree. Now you can either use the plastic nutcrackers from Dollar Tree, or you can use this $3 wood nutcracker. I am definitely using the wooden one. Now I picked up these little knobs from Hobby Lobby, as well as some white spray paint and some gold acrylic paint. First thing I'm going to do is take my nutcracker and a piece of tape, and I am going to be covering up his face, so when I go to spray paint it, I don't get any paint. This is the best way I could think of to protect his face, since I would not be able to draw back that face, the eyes, the nose, none of that. Next, I'm going to take my spray paint and I will spray paint these nutcrackers, and I will give them 2 coats of paint. You can definitely leave them as is. They are really pretty as they are, but the place I want to put them, they really need to be white in order to pop. So that's why I'm doing all of this. Plus, this is just a tip if you want to paint them any other color. Now I'm showing you here, I attempted to do the exact same thing I did to the wooden nutcracker, but since I choose a white paint, even though I spray painted it, like gave it 3 coats, you can still see the color. So I would suggest you can still use it, but pick a darker color, or maybe leave it as is if you're happy with it. But yeah, that is just my thinking. I will show you at the end of the video why this one ended up looking. The white did not work out. Okay, so next I'm taking the wooden plank and the gold acrylic paint, and I'm going to give this plank 2 coats of this really pretty gold color. Now, after we are done, we're going to let it dry. Now we are back with the nutcracker. It's already painted. We are going to remove the tape, and thank God his face is just fine. I was so nervous about that. Now I am going to take the same gold paint and I will be painting his sword. That's the only thing I decided to give a little detail, so that's all I'm gonna do. Now here is the wooden plank and the little knobs I showed you earlier. I'm taking one of them and I will be taking my drill and drilling a hole so I can push this in. Now I'm taking a pencil, finding the middle, and then I just take my drill and drill a hole. And then once that is done, we are going to glue it into place. You can definitely grab one of those hooks that have a screw on it and you can just screw it on there with your own hands. You've seen me done it before. It will definitely work. I really wanted to use this. I don't know why. I just really wanted to use it. So here I am. I added some hot glue and glue that into place. And now I am going to go in with some gold paint. Now, because I didn't wait for that to dry, I grabbed that roll of tape and set that wooden plank on top. Now we are going to glue our pieces together. So I add some hot hot glue to our nutcracker, and we're going to glue it right on top or right in the middle, and that will complete this project. I absolutely love how these stocking holders turned out. I hope you love them. Let me know down below. Now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using 3 Jingle Bells from Dollar Tree. As you can see, I removed everything off of them. They're actually from last year. I'm also going to use a candle holder from Dollar Tree. First thing I'm going to do is take one of these Jingle Bells and I'm going to be drilling a hole. Actually, 2 of them are going to have a hole on the side. I hope it makes sense. We are going to be running the wooden dowel through them, so you're going to be stacking them together. Just make sure that you are drilling the holes to where once you run them through it, they're gonna be standing straight. Now this one I only drill a hole in the middle because this is going to be the very top one. I'm removing the top, however it is not necessary. I had a different idea. So back in 2020, when I had just started my channel and I came up with my first Christmas DIYs, I did this amazing candle holder jingle bell idea, and I just think that back then it didn't get enough attention. Plus I did not have a lot of people following me then, so I decided to recreate it because I just think it was an amazing idea and it just had to be recreated and make it better. Now this time I wanted to do the candle holder thing, but I changed my mind throughout the video. So as you can see now, I have all my jingle bells. I painted my candle holder. Now we are going to go stacking jingle bells. I added a bunch of hot glue into the candle holder and then put my wooden dowel on it, and then I just added a little bit more glue just so it can hold my jingle bell in place. Now once you put the jingle bell in there, it's a sideways. It's the glue is gonna hold it down, so it will be just fine. Now we are going to run the second jingle bell sideways as well, and then the very top one is going to sit right straight on there. So as I said, I wanted to make this into a candle holder originally, and that lid that you're seeing down there on the table is actually what I was going to use to hold the candle, but I didn't think it was cute enough for me and it did not look high-end, so I ended up switching to the bow idea instead. I might go back later if I find something else that I can sit on top and make it look nicer, and you know, take the bow off and put something else on top to hold the candle. But in the meantime, we're going to stick with the bow. I used the Dollar Tree burlap ribbon to do that bigger bow, and then just some random greenery I had, and then a little bow that I also had ribbon already for, and then just the little pine cone as well from Dollar Tree. And all that's left is to glue this bow right on top and we will be done. Now I have a special request. If you have been with me since 2020, please leave me a comment down below, followed by a heart. And first of all, thank you so much if you have been my supporter since then. I really appreciate you. You don't even know. Thank you so much. Now I'm gonna stop talking. Let me show you the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using this beaded wreath. I was so excited to find at Dollar Tree. I'm also going to use some of these picks I picked up from Dollar Tree as well. Now, I will be using this pine cones, some little berries. I will be using the wall ones actually. And then I found these really cute Christmas trees at Hobby Lobby. This project is super easy. So I'm taking 4 of the darker green color picks and then 2 of the lighter green picks. I'm going to stack them together, 2 of the dark ones on each side and then 1 of the lighter ones on each side. And then after that, I will be zip tying them onto the beaded wreath so they can be attached. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I twisted them together first and then I am going to go attach them onto the wreath. And while we watch this, I have a special request for you. So I don't know if you look at my community tab, which you probably should because I post updates and things when things don't go right or things that I have planned out. And I had recently posted there that I needed your help because I'm so close to making it to 10K subscribers. My goal is to get there by the end of the year. And although it seems far still, I think we can make it, and I definitely need your help for that. So if you could help me and subscribe to this channel, if you like any of these DIYs, please subscribe to my channel, turn on your notification bell. You don't even know how much this would help my channel. I would continue to post more videos like this, and I really hope that you help me reach that goal. It's like very crazy to me that we are here. But if you can help me get to 10K subscribers, that would be my Christmas present. So help me by subscribing. It's so easy. Just subscribe to my channel and I would forever be thankful to you. And when we make it there, we are going to celebrate because this will be a huge milestone. And so if we get there, we will talk about it. So help me to get to 10K subscribers, please. And now let's jump back into the video. So as you can see, I attached the greenery. I did that cute little bow on there with the tool that looks like it has snow. And then I attached the gold berries, the Christmas tree. All that's left now is to attach the cute little pine cones. And that completes this project. I am so happy with how all of these turned out. Definitely, this is one of my favorite videos, and I just think all of these turned out amazing. All of them were my favorite, and I hope you have a favorite too. Now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to use a few things from Dollar Tree like this Santa, as well as these adorable snowflakes wood cutouts. I'm also using this welcome board that I pulled from this sign, and I'm going to use these Waverly templates and a red, white, and black paint. And then last but not least, and the most important, you need some wooden planks. These ones are from Hobby Lobby. I picked them up a while ago. It comes in a pack of 2. They're 48 inches long, and they are 40% off at this moment. And originally they're like $14, so you get a good deal. Now, the first thing I did, and I'm sorry I did it off camera, I attached these 2 planks together with some wooden pieces that I had laying around. I used some wood glue and hot glue to attach them and then let them dry. Next, I'm going to start with my Santa. What I'm going to do is remove, of course, the tag, and then I use some spackling to cover up the hole that this has because this is supposed to be used to hang it. I'm not going to do that, and so I want to cover that hole so it's not showing. And then once you cover it up, you just wipe what you don't need, and then you are good to go. And while the spackling dries a little bit, I decided to start with the word welcome. I decided to go with white paint. You know, I'm very basic. I like my neutrals, so I decided to paint this white. You could stain it, you could pick a different color, you know. The decision is definitely yours. Then after I am done covering up this word, just be sure you get all the edges because once we put this all together, you don't want to see any of that. Now I'm gonna start with my Santa, which it's super adorable and I think it turns out super cute. Now I am going to start giving this Santa a face, and we're going to start with the beard. So I start with the white paint. And I was a little nervous because I wasn't sure where this beard needed to go. And I was like, we're going to wing it. And that's what I did. I will say that if you're planning on painting his face a different color, then do it before you do the white. That way you don't overlap the colors or you don't mix them, or you know, like I feel like it'll be easier. I decided to leave his face the way it is. I like that brown color and I didn't want to mess with it, so I just started giving him a beard. And then, you know, paint the mustache as well. And then we're gonna go with the hat. I was thinking that maybe you could cover it up with some fabric or even some yarn. I don't know, I'm just throwing ideas out there. Okay, now that that is done, I'm going to go with red for the hat. You can definitely paint this a different color. I'm going very classic. My outdoor is going to be white, red. So I think this was perfect. Now, I do give this hat 2 coats of paint as well, just to make sure. And do not forget the edges, because once you glue this down, it's gonna be hard to go back and fix that. Now we're gonna give this Santa some eyes. And at first I was trying my brush technique, but it didn't work. It wasn't big enough, so I go in with a brush and then ignore his nose. I have no idea why I painted it black. It looks like a bear right now, and I was like, we have to fix that. So I have to go back in there with some pink paint and then fix his nose. And I think after that he looks like Santa. I don't know, let me know in the comments down below. I still think he's adorable. And while we let Santa dry, I'm going to spray paint my snowflakes. I decided to go with white paint, and so I'm going to do that off camera. And now we are going to start putting this sign together. So I grab my wooden planks and some painter's tape, and I put the tape there so I can see, or I can mark and know myself where I need to start writing down. So with the painter's tape there, I know that from there below I can do the wording. So I take my Waverly templates and tape them down together, and I grab a pencil and I start tracing them. These templates, I love them. I had them for like 3 years, maybe even more, but I will leave them linked down below if I can find them on Amazon or Walmart, because I picked mine up from Walmart a long time ago, and they're so useful for if you don't have a Cricut machine. These come very handy. And after I am done tracing them, I will leave them taped together. That way I can just slide them down and keep tracing, and I can use the same tape to attach them. And I finished all of them off camera. Now I am taking a small brush and my white chalk paint that I picked up from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to start tracing the words, or I guess painting the words. So I'm gonna paint each word, or word I should say. But anyway, so I hand painted them, and then I feel like once you get to the third letter, then you get the hang of it and you're a lot faster. That's what it happened to me. But yes, so be patient and you're gonna complete it, and it's gonna be great. Now I'm gonna finish all the other letters off camera, and here is what they look like right now. This is looking amazing if you ask me. Okay, now it's time to put everything together. So I'm going to start with the welcome sign and the Santa. I'm kind of trying to see where I want them to sit. Once I decided, I grabbed some hot glue and start gluing these down. You can also use some wood glue. I didn't. I think hot glue is going to be just fine for me. And now we are going to glue down our Santa. So we're going to put a lot of hot glue. And then we are going to place it on the sign, and we are going to push it down a little bit so it glues right down. And do not think I forgot about the hat. I know it's not completed. We need a pom-pom for our hat. And so I grabbed this yarn from Dollar Tree. It's very fussy and I've been dying to use it. And I was like, this is my chance. So I'm making a pom-pom out of this. And you've seen me do pom-poms before, but if you need a tutorial, let me know in the comments down below. I don't mind recording a tutorial, just doing a pom-pom. And then once I do that, I'm going to hot glue the pom-pom down. And how adorable is this Santa? I am loving it. Now here's a look at how this sign is looking so far. You can definitely stop here. However, I wanted to go a step farther, and you remember the snowflakes we spray painted. Now is the time to attach them. So my front porch decor has some snowflakes, and I wanted to add that detail to this sign. So I'm going to hot glue them into place. And yeah, just have fun, add whatever you need to add to your sign. If you think it's too much, then you can stop. But that is all for this project. I think this sign turned out adorable. I'm in love with it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm using this large snowflake I picked up from Dollar Tree. I'm also going to use some white spray paint, and this part is optional, but I'm going to use glitter, and then you just need something to seal it if you're going to use glitter. Okay, let's get started. Now, first thing I'm going to do is spray paint this snowflake. I will give it 2 coats of paint to cover up the gold glitter. Now, I've been looking for large snowflakes, and everything I find is so expensive. So when I saw these ones at Dollar Tree, I got so excited. You can find them in 3 different colors: silver, red, and gold. They only had gold and red at my local Dollar Tree, so that's why I grabbed the gold ones. And I was like, it's okay, I'm going to spray paint them, so it'll be fine. So after I spray paint them and they're all covered up, you don't see no more gold, I am going to add the glitter. I know glitter is not for everybody, but I love me some glitter, so I decided to use glitter to give them that sparkle, and I love them. Look at them. They're so shiny and sparkly. Now, after they dry, I'm going to add some Mod Podge to seal it. That way glitter doesn't go anywhere. And that is all for this project. It was super easy, and you can paint them any color you want. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. And now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using 4 of these garlands from Walmart. They're $3.78 each. And then I'm going to use some pine cones, some ornaments. I already had mine. I'm going to use red, and then this mesh from Hobby Lobby. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is take 2 of the garlands, and I'm going to find the ends, and I'm going to attach them together. I twist the wire one against each other, or I guess attach them to each other, and then all we are going to do is just twist them around and attach both of these together. Now, I wanted a fuller look to this wreath, or I guess garland, I'm sorry, and the cheapest way to do it is to find some cheap garlands and then attach them together, and you will have a fuller one. This is going to go on my front porch, and I really didn't want it to be fancy, or I don't need it to be fancy, but I do need it to be fuller. So here's a look at what it looks like with one only, and then here is the one on top is the one we just twisted. Now, I had to, in order to fit my entire door, I had to do 2 of these. So I did attach 2 garlands together and then 2 other ones, and now I'm going to attach the ends together. Now I'm using zip ties to do that, and I'm gonna zip tie it into place. I think I end up using 2 of them just to be sure that they're not gonna go anywhere, and then we are going to go into the next step. Now, I'm going to start with the end on this, and I'm going to take the mesh. This one is from Hobby Lobby. They have a huge sale right now, so I think I end up paying like $4 for it, and it's so pretty. Now, I'm going to start towards the bottom first, and I cinch it in. I cinch the mesh, and then I just use Dollar Tree zip ties to attach this to our garland. Now, I will tell you right now, if you are going to add lights to it, do it before you attach the mesh, because I had to do that later. And I mean, you can still do it, but it's definitely easier if you attach the lights first and then everything else on top. Now, I'm gonna continue to do this until I finish my garland. And how cute is this looking? I am loving it already. Now, here is a look at what this garland is looking like. It looks amazing. I'm in love with it. It looks like a big candy, if you ask me. Now, here is what I'm talking about. I forgot to attach the lights first, so I'm having to go back and do that. And if this video moves a lot, is because my daughter Ashlyn, she was helping me. She's so sweet, but she moves a lot, so I'm sorry. So what I'm doing is taking more zip ties and attaching the lights together. I just did it at the beginning and like a couple throughout the garland. You really don't need to attach every single light to it, or I guess every single time you twist it, you don't have to attach it. You can just twist it where we cinch the mesh, and you are good to go. So as you can see now, I'm twisting it on every little loop. And then yeah, I'm gonna continue until I finish. I just use 1 string of lights. It's 100 lights, and it cover up the entire garland. Now that that is done, let's take a look. This is how cute it looks once it's light up. Now it's sitting on the ground. This was the night before. Now let's jump into putting all of this together. Okay, the very next day, I decided to bring our Christmas spirit out because we have it going inside, but we definitely needed it outside like ASAP. As you can see, I was in the Christmas spirit. I even wore my Grinch sweater, and I was loving it. As you can see, there was a lot of random things going on, fall, Halloween, all kinds of things, so it needed to be done. Now, I attached the hooks, and now I'm going to take my garland, and we are going to attach it to our door. I want to mention that my daughter Ashlyn, she was actually helping me record. So if you see this camera moving a lot, don't worry. It's okay. She was my helper, and I'm so grateful she did. She was so excited to help me. But anyway, we are going to finish up attaching our garland. At this point, you can add whatever you want to the garland. I will show you what I did to mine. So I have some red ornaments that I want to use on the garland. Since we're not using them for the tree this year, I decided we can zip tie them to our garland, and I have Ashlyn right here helping me put these together. So we have 2 little ones and a big one, and then we zip tie them together, and then we're bringing them over here, and I already did one to put them and fill in the spaces right here. So I'm gonna continue to do that while Ashlyn helps me put these together. Gonna look at it. And now it's time to hang our huge snowflakes, and I was trying to find the best spot to do that, and so I decided to add 2 on each side and then 2 at the very top. And then I was trying to figure out how to attach them. I end up using the same hook that they come with, and then just using the branches and attach the snowflake that way. And I think it was a great idea, and I just found a spot that I needed to cover on the garland, and there you have it. Now I'm gonna start adding the pine cones on the spots that are not covered yet. These pine cones are from Walmart and they smell really good, so I'm hoping this smell stays on them so when the people come in, you can smell the Christmas. But anyway, now we're gonna put everything back together. I am looking for a mat in the color red, and that looks like candy canes, kind of like the garland, because I just think that it will look a lot better than the black one. If you know anywhere where I can find some good price mats, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know. Now I struggle a little bit with this sign because it was covering our doorbell, and I didn't want that because, you know, we need it for when people come in. So I struggle a little bit deciding where I want this sign, but then at the end I settled for that side. And then we're gonna finish up decorating, and then that is all for this project. I hope you love this video. It is the time to look at the end result, so let me know in the comments down below what you think. Creative Squad, if you made it all the way to the end, first of all, thank you so much for watching and your support. It means a lot. I hope you liked today's video. Please let me know in the comments down below if you have a favorite DIY. Would you use any of these ideas? I would love to know. I also hope that you consider subscribing if you're not already. For this DIY, I'm going to be using these ornaments I picked up from Hobby Lobby, as well as these adorable gingerbread cookies. I will be using some random ribbon I have already and some red and white acrylic paint. I will also use the red glitter. This is definitely optional, and then of course something to glue it with. First thing I'm going to do is take one of the gingerbreads, and I'm actually going to build it. Now this comes in a pack of 6, and it has everything you need to, you know, build your gingerbread. Now these could be also great for kids crafts. However, I will be using mine for my DIYs. And the best thing is that they were from Hobby Lobby, and currently they have a 60% sale on everything Christmas. So run out there and get them. That also includes this 12 pack of ornaments that are wooden ornaments. 8 of them are circular. The other 4 are actually like Christmas lights or Christmas bulbs. And so I'm going to be using the circular ones because if you don't follow me or you don't check out my community section, you probably should. And you should probably also be subscribed to my channel if you like any of these DIYs. Because I recently asked if y'all were interested in me doing theme Christmas decor, and I had 4 options, and gingerbread cookies and candy canes won. So I'm combining both of those into these DIYs. So as you can see now, I already finished one of the ornaments, and now I am tracing the second one. I'm making these ones look like peppermints, and so I'm tracing lines with my pencil. As you can see, once I traced the first one, it was very easy to do the rest, and I'll finish them all off camera. Now, I know I said I'm combining candy canes and gingerbreads, but peppermints are also kind of like candy canes, right? So this is why I decided to go with these ones. So I'm taking this acrylic paint that is actually from Hippie Crafter. They recently reached out to me and sent me a pack of acrylic paint. It's a 24 pack, and let me tell you how shocked I was of the coverage that these paints have. I'm used to using, other brands for acrylic paint, and I usually have to do a couple of layers. This one was enough. Like, I was so shocked. And then they were also really nice enough to send me this heat gun. And if you're interested in any of these products, they will be linked down below. Be sure to check it out. There's also a link for a 50% off. They did not pay me anything to say anything about them. They just sent me the products in hopes that I would talk about them. However, if you use the link down below, I will get a small commission out of it. So thank you so much for your support. And then here I'm showing you one of the peppermints that I actually messed up, and I was nervous that when I would go on top with the white paint, it was gonna smear together. And it definitely shocked me when I saw that it was totally fine. So once these dry, you go on top of paint with other color paint and it's going to be totally fine. I was really shocked. So here is one of the peppermints done, and here is all of them completed. And now this part is optional. I feel like I say that a lot, but it definitely is optional. If you're not a glitter lover, then you can skip it. If you love glitter as much as I do, then we are going to add glitter. So I am using just regular glue from Dollar Tree. It's a big bottle for $1.25, so it works great for me. So with a brush, I apply the glue on the red portion of it, and then we are going to pour a lot of glitter on them. Originally, I wanted to do all of them with red and white glitter, but then I changed my mind and ended up doing only 4 of them. And then I don't end up adding the white because I just think that they just look fine with the red glitter. And so throughout the process, we eliminated the white glitter. So here I am with a brush, just brushing off the white portion, the glitter that kind of got on it. And then once that is done, here's what it looks like. Now here is all of the 8 peppermints. It is time to start stacking them together. So we are doing a wreath, and I was thinking that I should have bought more of them because I feel like this wreath was a lot smaller than what I wanted it to be, but it's okay. It could be a great addition to our decor, so it's totally fine. We're still gonna use it. But anyway, so it was great that they are ornaments because they have that extra part that you can use to glue them. So I was like really happy that I didn't end up cutting it because I did consider cutting that off, but I was glad I didn't because it worked just fine. Now I had this mesh left over from my front porch decor. If you have not checked out that video, it will be showing up here on your right top corner. I had this piece left over and I thought it was perfect for this wreath, so I am utilizing it. I usually don't throw these things away. It was like a smaller piece that I could have thrown away, but I was like, I'm sure I'm gonna use it, and sure enough, we used it for this wreath. And then I'm using this tool from Dollar Tree. It's like, it looks like it's frosted, or like it has like little specks of like snow, I like to think. And then I created another little bow, and then I'm attaching these together with a zip tie. And then I think this is a super cute bow. I like how fluffy it is. Then I end up adding this other bow from Dollar Tree. I don't know if they're back. I'm sure they are. I've said it many times, my Dollar Tree sucks. So these bow is actually from last year. And then I'm going to glue the bow and the adorable gingerbread cookie, and then we are going to move on to adding all of these pieces together. Okay, so I end up adding this piece of wood onto my wreath because I wanted this to be a little bit wider. I feel like it didn't really make a difference, but I wanted to show you what I did. So I'm showing you now, then we're just going to glue the bow right on it. If you skip that part, you'll be totally fine, I promise. Then last thing I did is take these adorable gingerbread cookies. They're stickers. I picked them up from Hobby Lobby, and it was actually because I saw this DIYer named the Imprecise Crafter. I might be saying that wrong. I am so sorry, but I saw her posting them on Instagram, and she says she grabbed them from Hobby Lobby. So I stopped by there the other day and I picked them up because they're so adorable. You cannot pass on them, at least me. But anyways, that is all for this project. Now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using some cotton twine, red and white. I'm also going to use this yarn from Dollar Tree. It's a little bit fussy and I love it. Some red and white pom-poms, these I guess stickers, and some more gingerbread, and then you just need a needle. So what I did is thread the needle through the Dollar Tree yarn. I left it double because I like how fussy it is, and I feel like one strand was not enough. So it's up to you how many strands you want to do, and you will need a thick enough needle to run your yarn through it. Then I added a red pom-pom, a white pom-pom, and then I alternated between the little gingerbread cookies and these candies. I'm not sure what these are or what they are called, but it's a pack of 6 peppermints, and I will be using only the red and white ones. Then once I ran all of them through them, this is what they look like. My gingerbread look a little bit sad right now because they don't have faces, but we will fix that in a little bit. Now I am going to add tassels to the end of this garland, and I used the red twine and the yarn, and I just wrapped it around my hand, and then once I was happy, I cut it off, and then I ran it through the garland, through the ends. I left a space big enough for me to tie them onto it, and then I cut the bottoms, but then I was like, something's missing, and then I realized I still need to wrap it to make it look like a tassel, so we're gonna do that right now. And once again, I picked up the gingerbread and the peppermints from Hobby Lobby, and I think it's a great deal. A lot of these things I've been finding are even better than buying them from Dollar Tree. So I don't know, you might want to check it out just in case, you want to buy any of these things now that they have that sale. But anyway, so after we are done doing that, I am going to start adding eyes and everything to the gingerbread. And so I kind of messed up and I used the pink for buttons, but then I realized that that's actually their blush and it's not supposed to be there. So I go back in with some white paint and do the frosting on the gingerbread. And then I did end up adding hats to 2 of them. They come in the same pack because I accidentally put the gingerbread on the other side where they don't have a smile, and then the hole was bigger because these are supposed to be ornaments, so I had to add the hat to cover that up. And that is all for this project. I think this was a super adorable project and I absolutely love it. Now let's check out the end result. For this project, I'm using this fabric I picked up from Dollar Tree, as well as this Marian Bride word cutout and a Dollar Tree frame. And now what I'm going to do is take apart the frame. This frame is thick enough to fit the words inside, so that's why I choose this one. You can paint this frame a different color if you like. I'm gonna take the frame and the glass and put them all to the side, and we are going to take the back of this frame. Now if you want to hang this frame on your wall, then you might want to use another random piece of cardboard you might have, so you can glue the fabric on the back. Mine is not going to be hung on the wall. It's actually just going to sit resting on something, so I'm going to leave mine, or I guess I'm going to use the backing of this frame, and I'm going to glue the fabric to the back. Now I want to go ahead and apologize because my phone died and I did not realize it, and so I don't have the end of this process, so I'm so sorry. All you have to do is glue the fabric onto this piece of cardboard. Then I'm jumping into doing 2 bows. I use this tool that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I've had it, you've seen me use it in other projects. I like it because it has those little white specks that look like snow. So I pick how big I want this bow to be, and then I just fold it a few times, and then I cinch it in the middle. And then to hold it in place before I attach these two, I hold it with that little clip. That clip is actually from Dollar Tree. And then I take this piece of fabric that I cut off from the fabric that we just used, and then before I glue the 2 ends together, before it dries, I cinch it in the middle, and then I attach both of the bows. I'm going to do that with a zip tie, and then when it's secured and attached together, this is what this looks like. Then we're going to go ahead and take that peppermint from that Hobby Lobby pack and glue it in the middle, and I think it's perfect because this fabric is that red, green, and white, and it goes perfect. And now what I'm going to do is take this Merry and Bright word cutout from Dollar Tree. And as you can see, mine was already painted black. I just gave it one more coat of paint because it has some scratches. And then I'm using my heat gun to dry it faster. I absolutely love this heat gun. And then I'm sorry, I don't have the video footage for this part either. But essentially what I did is take the Merry and Bright cutout, place it inside the frame, then just take the back, secure it in there. You don't even have to glue it into place. It'll be totally fine if you just let it there. And then all you have to do is glue that adorable bow into place, and that completes this project. I think this project turned out amazing. It was so inexpensive and so easy to do. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. For this project, I'm going to use this vase I picked up from Dollar Tree, some tape, you just need red paint, and I'm going to use this greenery from Dollar Tree. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is take this blue tape, or I guess painter's tape, and I'm going to start wrapping around my vase. Now, we are going to do candy cane lines, so it's up to you how wide you want these lines to be. I wanted them to be a little bit on the wider side, so that's why I am doing that. And then I did struggle a little bit with the tape. You know, bear with me. We did end up figuring it out. It gets better once I got to the middle. But yes, you can do this to any base you have. Make it look Christmassy by doing some candy cane lines. And then once we have this base cover up with tape, now we are going to go in with red paint. I choose this acrylic paint. You can use any paint you have. And I just did one good coat of paint, and that was enough for me. Feel free to go back in there and do more coats of paint if you want to. Now I did take my heat gun and help this dry a little bit faster, but honestly this paint dries super fast, so I didn't have to do much. But yes, so once this is completely dry, then we are going to start removing the tape. And you don't even know how much satisfaction this gives me. I love removing the tape and seeing those lines. Now, these lines were not perfect, but I am happy with them. Then here you can go back and do white paint on those white spaces. I am going to leave my base the way it is just because I really like that color on it. And then here's what it looks like. Now I decided to add some floral foam inside to help the greenery sit a little bit higher once I added, but it's up to you. And now all is left is to add your florals in it. I am using this poinsettia from Dollar Tree, I'm sorry, and then some random greenery I had laying around. And that is all for this project. It was so easy to do, and you can do this to the bases you already have and make them look Christmassy by adding those stripes. And yeah, so I did have 2 bunches of these poinsettias. I did took one of them, cut them individually, and then I just added them where I needed to add more flowers. And that completes this project. I had so much fun doing this. I hope you love it. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. And now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using 2 packs of these snowflakes from Hobby Lobby, a scrap of wood, and I'm going to be using white paint. Ignore the other ones. First thing I'm going to do is get the snowflakes out, and I do end up using all 20 of them. These are so cute. They have shimmer on them, and it's very sticked on there. It's not gonna fall off. But anyways, going back, I'm gonna take 4 snowflakes, and I'm going to start forming the bottom of this tree. Now, this DIY, it's great for now, for Christmas, if you want to use it for Christmas, and then you can leave it once you clean up all your Christmas stuff and use it for winter decor. It turns out super adorable, and it's super easy to do. You just start gluing the snowflakes, and then you gave it the shape that you like. I did mine into a tree, but you could even do a snowflake or a letter or whatever you want. The options are endless. Now, once I am done gluing all of these pieces together, as you can see now, I'm on to my last ones. I was trying to figure out what to do with those two that are left over there, and then I realized that it kind of looks empty there towards the bottom, so we will fix that here in a little bit. And I end up, there we go, I'm gonna glue one on each side. And here is our tree. Now I'm gonna take a lighter and run it really fast around the tree just to burn down those strings of glue. I don't like them, so this technique works really great. Now I am going to take my drill in my wooden piece and I'm going to drill a hole right in the middle. You can use a Dollar Tree wooden cube to do this part, and you don't have to drill a hole. You can use a tumbling block to hold it, or even one of those small wooden cubes that they sell. And yeah, that's another option. Now I'm going to go in with my chalk white paint and paint this cube completely in white. And then after I'm done, I'm going to grab my heat gun and dry this, or I guess help it dry a little bit faster. And then if you're ever interested in any of the tools, paint, or anything, just always check the description box because I will have everything linked down below. Now I'm going to take some Dollar Tree glue and I'm going to add it to the top of this piece where we drill the hole. And then I'm going to go in with this fall snow that I picked up from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add a lot of it to cover up the entire top of it where we added the glue. And then once that is done, I'll turn it around and remove what we don't need, and then with the brush kind of just wiggle it in the hole just to make sure that it's opened up to the next step, which is adding hot glue. And then going in with our little tree, we're gonna sit it right on top, and then we're gonna add a little bit more glue to the front and the back, and we are going to add a lot, or I guess not a lot, we're gonna cover it up the hot glue with the faux snow. And that is all for this project. Super easy to do. I think it turns out adorable. Now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to take this wooden cutout tree from Dollar Tree. I'm also going to be using these other trees I have from Hobby Lobby and a scrap of wood. You can use this longer piece that Dollar Tree sells. You can leave it as is, or you can cut it to the size you needed. And I'm also going to be using these vinyl word cutouts. I have a Cricut machine. I cut them and I had them laying around. And I'm going to use some white paint and those green paints. What I'm going to do first is mix the white and the green paint. I'm gonna make it a little bit darker by adding some black paint as well. I'm doing all of this because these greens were too bright for what I was thinking. So once I am done mixing all the colors, this is the beautiful green I came up. Waverly has a green that looks just like it, and that's what I was aiming for. I just did not have that color. And then I took some spackling and I added it to the hole. Now this might not be necessary if you're gonna do what I'm gonna show you here in a little bit, but that is just a tip. If you ever have a sign and you're trying to cover it up, make it look smooth, add some spackling to the holes. Now I'm going in with my paint, giving this tree a good coat of paint. And then after we do that, don't forget the edges, because you know you want this to look nice and cute, so be sure to get the edges. And then once you are done doing that, then we are going to just make sure everything's smooth before we go to dry it. And to help these paint dry a little bit faster, I'm going to use this heat gun. This specific one is actually from Hippie Crafters, and if you're interested, I will have a link right down below. I love this thing because it really helps me finish my projects a lot faster. And now I'm going to turn it around and finish painting the back. Now I'm going to take my scrap of wood in this Waverly antique wax and a paper towel. I wet the paper towel and I'm going to rub this all over this wooden piece. And then after we are done, we are going to help it dry a little bit faster with our heat gun as well. But yes, so don't forget to get the edges. Ignore those wordings at the bottom. We are going to use the other side, so don't worry about those. Then once we are done, we are going to move to the next step, which is a pencil and a ruler. I'm going to mark where I need to be drilling a hole. Now again, you can use the tumbling blocks to hold this trees, but I'm gonna go in with this drill in where I marked that I need to drill. I'm gonna start drilling some holes. I don't have any specific machines to do like what would that be, like a crevice for us to fit the tree through. So I did a bunch of little holes, and then I took a screwdriver and I kind of started pushing down on it until it kind of opened up that space. Now after that, I kind of started rubbing the same screwdriver, and then I was having problems with it, and so I decided to grab my as you can see, I tried the tree and it would not fit in there. So I was like, what am I going to do? And then I took the drill and I kind of started running it sideways instead. And it worked a lot better. Then I was able to create a space big enough to fit the tree. And off camera, I will be doing the exact same thing, just creating big enough spaces for the other two little trees. Now, next, I am taking the tree and placing my wording on it with some tape just to hold it there so I can do this part. So I decided to add a little bit of snow to my tree, and for that, I use hot glue. So what I did is add a bunch of glue to the top 3 corners of this tree, and then I go in with some acrylic white paint and paint that glue once it's dried. I saw somebody do it somewhere. I don't remember where, but they actually had white hot glue, and then they just go in and add that white glue on there and it looks like snow. And I was like, that's such a great idea. So I decided to do it, and I would just paint on top of it. I don't know if I love it, but I think it ends up looking really, really good. Let me know what you think down below. Now, as you can see, now I'm going in this time actually placing every single word on there. And as you can see, that U was kind of stubborn, so I had to fix it, but there we have it. And then I'm gonna keep doing that until I finish adding all 3 words to the tree. And then once we are done, we are actually going to move on to putting all the pieces together. And here they are. So what I'm going to do is add some hot glue to the crevices, and then I'm going to start adding the trees. I'm starting with the big one and then just pushing it in there. And once it's secured, I'm going to continue with the other 2 trees. Now these little trees are so adorable. I love them. They're from Hobby Lobby. It was a pack of 4. I already used 2 on a wreath I did on one of my previous videos. I will link it at the very top. It should be showing on your right top. If you're interested, check it out. And then once that is done, that completes the project. Now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using this ornament from Dollar Tree, as well as this snowflake and these 2 other clear, beautiful snowflakes. I'm also going to use some white paint. What I'm going to do first is spray paint the metal snowflake off camera. Next, I'm going to take the ornament and I'm going to remove the greenery, the berry, and the little pine cone. Now, I was a little bit aggressive and I kind of peeled it off a little bit too much. So I'm having to go back in there and kind of fix my mistake for being a little bit. And so I'm having to go in and fix this. And so what I could glue back, I glue it back, but then I was missing some pieces. So I used the pine cone to cover that up. And I think we're good. Now the next step is going to be painting this snowflake with white. I tried to peel off that piece of fabric on it, but it was not easy. So I figured that my best bet was to just paint it and leave it alone. And so that's what I did. Now this has some really strong colors on it, so I had to do 2 coats of it, and then after that we were good. And here is what it looks like. Now I'm going to take my drill and drill a hole right in the middle. We are going to be adding a snowflake right there. So here, if you're going to be using this snowflake, this a clear snowflake, you definitely need a hole in there to hold it. Otherwise, then switch to flat snowflakes to be able to glue a tumbling block in the back or something along those lines. Now, as you can see now, I'm going to go ahead and add some glue to the center, and then I'm going to take my first snowflake, that clear one, and I'm going to glue it into place. Then once it's completely glued in there, this is what it looks like. Now you can stop here. It looks adorable, but if you're like me, and I know that by now you probably already know that I like challenging gravity, and so what I'm gonna do now is stack snowflakes. So I take the middle one that we spray painted, and I'm going to stick it in between this clear one. They actually have spaces big enough for this one to fit. So after that one it's secured, I take the third snowflake, add some hot glue, and then I sit it right on top in between that metal snowflake. And then once that one is there, I kind of hold it there for a little bit, make sure it's gonna stay in place. And then we jump into the last step. Now I went and picked up these letters from Michaels. They were about $2.50, and then I'm going to grab this metallic acrylic paint and I'm going to paint them. Now I wanted something a little bit more stronger than vinyl, and so these letters came in so handy, and I wanted to spell the words "let it snow," one word for each snowflake, and I think this turns out adorable. I was so much more happy once I added the wording onto them. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, as you can see, I'm gluing each letter into place, and that completes this project. I loved how this turned out. Let me show you the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using these scraps of wood and then these ornaments from Dollar Tree. One is bigger than the other two. That is optional. Now, I'm going to take some of these green garland as well as these white poinsettias, some floral moss, and floral foam. Now, first thing we are going to do is take the scraps of wood and I'm going to attach them together. Now, I will be using a tumbling block and this other scrap of wood I already had laying around. I'm going to hot glue them down to keep these two parts together, or I guess these two wooden pieces together. And then I will be using this stapler to secure them into place. And with that, it's going to be totally secure and they're not gonna go anywhere. After that, I'm going to take my ornaments and I remove the top on them and I'm going to paint them. The colors are optional. I'm going to stay neutral. I'm going to paint the big one white, and then the other two will be a creamy color. I'm using this chalk paint from Hobby Lobby. You can also find it in Amazon. You can find any links down below to where you can get it if you can't find it at Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to give 2 coats of paint to these ornaments. Now here I am with this color. I actually did a mixture of the white paint and those brown acrylic paints down there. Again, the colors, the exact colors will be right down below. So after I give them a coat of paint, I am letting them dry and I am taking the tops on these ornaments and I'm going to use this gold acrylic paint to paint the tops, and I only did 1 coat. 1 was enough for the tops. Then after that, I'm taking some floral foam and I'm going to start gluing this down. I'm gonna keep this more towards the middle, and these are recycled from past projects, so I didn't cut them, but cut them to the size you need them. And then all you need is hot glue to glue them into place, and then just let them dry, and I promise you they'll be totally secure. Once they are glued down, I'm gonna take some more hot glue and the green floral moss, and I'm going to cover the floral foams with it. I start with the edges and then I work my way up. And the reason for that is because I need to figure out where the ornaments are going to be on top. So I don't want to cover everything up yet, but we will do that eventually. So I'm going to hot glue the green moss into place. Just be careful because hot glue is very hot. And as you can see now, I'm going to go on the other side, add a bunch of glue, and then we're going to keep adding the green moss. Now, you can also just do the green garland, but I really wanted to cover this up because you would need a lot more green garland to cover that up. And I just figured that this would be easier. Now I'm going on top and I'm adding green moss to the top. And again, I'm not covering everything up yet. We are going more so towards like the edges of the floral foam. And then after we are done doing that, we are going to jump into seeing where the ornaments are gonna go. But yes, let's finish this up. Now here I am, I'm taking this ornament. The white one was actually drying, so I had an extra one. I'm using that to see where I need to sit the other two. So I'm gonna keep the big one in the middle and the other two on the sides. And so now I'm going to add some more of the green moss where I think it needs it, so I can cover up, in between each ornament. I don't want the floral foam to show up, so I'm gonna add the green moss right there. Then after we cover up what we need to cover up, then I'm going to hot glue the ornaments into place. As you can see now, I'm testing it and it works just fine. So now it's time to add some hot glue. Okay, I wanted to mention I did use my heat gun to try to dry these fast. It was not a mistake, but I kept it way too close to the other ornament. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it kind of like started melting. So a little bit on this right ornament, it's like a little bit dented, but it's totally fine. We're gonna cover that up. Now, since my other ornament's still drying, I'm keeping this one here just so I can see where I can start adding the green garland. Well, it's not garland. I'm gonna tell you the truth. What I use is actually the Dollar Tree Christmas trees, the little ones. They also sell the green garland ties, and I just didn't want to go and buy them. Plus my Dollar Tree, I can never rely on it to find what I need. So I decided to use what I had, and what I had was those Christmas trees. So I took my pliers in one of the Christmas trees and I cut off all the branches. I did end up cutting some of the branches in half just because they were very long and I needed them to be a little bit short, and that's what I'm using now to cover up this floral foam. Now I decided to use this first to cover up I guess to start the coverage on this arrangement, and then we can go in with like other things like the flowers and all that after, but yeah, just to kind of fill in this space. Then once I was done, I am going to add this other greenery I already had on hand. This is also from Dollar Tree. I really like it. I had a few pieces left that I hadn't used, so I'm adding that for an extra pop of texture and also to make it look nicer. Now I'm adding these other ones that look a little bit more frosted, and they look like they have snow on them, and so just to add different greens in it. Then here is my ornament already done to be glued down, so I'm gonna add hot glue and glue that right down. Now I decided to leave the floral foam where I'm gonna be gluing the ornaments without any moss, just because they can adhere better to the floral foam than the moss. And now as a last touch, I decided to add these mini pine cones that are super adorable to the entire arrangement. And then finally we are going in with some poinsettias. I decided to use velvet ones. They have like the gold on the tips of the flower, and this is one bouquet. It comes with 6 flowers, so I took those and I added them to the arrangement. And then I'm gonna take these other white ones. They're plain white, and I'm gonna add one on each side. Feel free to add more if you need to. And that is all for this project. Now let's take a look at the end result. For the next project, I'm using these Dollar Tree products, this Santa cutout, this Christmas tree, this star wooden hook, this candle, and then I'm using this wooden plank from Dollar Tree and some white paint. First thing I'm going to do now is remove the hook off of the star as well as the hanger, and FYI, I only end up using one of these stars. So after I remove that with a screwdriver, we are going to set it to the side for the next step. I'm going to use this spackling from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to fill in the holes on the star and the Santa. You see me done this before. This is so we can cover those holes up and they don't show up once, we make them into our DIYs. Then after I am done filling the holes, then I just take a ruler and remove what we don't need. And then after that, you can go in with paint right away. Nothing's gonna happen. Feel free to wait until it dries, but I don't see it making a difference. What I'm going to do next is take my white paint and start painting these Santa, star, and these Christmas tree. And the color white is chalk paint from Hobby Lobby, but you can also find it on Amazon. Again, the link will be right down below if you're interested. And then I give 2 coats of paint to each of these pieces. And I feel like I say it all the time, but I love neutrals, so I usually go for more whites and neutral colors. But if you want to paint this in a different color, you are more than welcome. You do you. These are just ideas, and you can make them into your own. So after I am done adding all the paint, or I guess painting these ones, I am going to go in with my heat gun and help this process go a little bit faster because we don't have time to wait on these to dry for hours. So we're going to do that next. So I'm taking this wooden plank. Again, like I said, these are Dollar Tree wooden planks. The longer one, actually the little one is a piece off of this big one. I had it laying around from a different project, from a different wooden plank I cut, but they also sell the wooden planks already in the shape you need them. They have some square ones, some rectangular ones, so you could use one of those from Dollar Tree as well. Then I'm gonna paint these pieces in white completely. These ones I just give it 1 coat of paint. 1 coat of paint was good for me, and then I'm going in with the heat gun to help it dry faster. Now here all my pieces are ready to go. I'm gonna add the little piece to the big piece with some hot glue. Feel free to add wooden glue. I didn't. I think it's gonna be just fine, but if you're not sure, you can always add some wood glue. Then I place the candle right onto that wooden plank, and I'm going to start figuring out where I want each thing to be. So I added the Christmas tree, or I make it stand against the candle just to see where I want it. Then once I decided, I take some hot glue in my star and I'm gonna hot glue it into place. Ignore that I forgot to paint the back on this star. Then once that is done, I am going to glue the Christmas tree right to the front of this wooden plank. I was trying to cover up the candle, and although I did not cover it 100%, I am okay with it. But if you want to cover up the entire candle, then feel free to add more things to this. Now I just added my Santa to the star from his hand is going to be holding this star, and this is a very thin material, so it's going to be fine with just holding it from that hand of that Santa. Then next, I was originally going to leave it as is, but then I felt like it was very blank, so I decided to grab this screw hook, I guess. I'm not really sure what they're called, but it literally has a screw on one end and a hook on the other. And then I had this little pine cone wreath from Dollar Tree, and I really wanted to add it, and then I really wanted to say something. And so I had these wooden letters that I picked up from Michael's, and I actually used on my last video, which if you have not seen it, go check it out because it has a really good ideas, winter ideas, and it will be showing right here on my top right corner. So be sure to check it out. And now all that's left is to glue down the word joy onto our project. And that is all for this project. I love how this turns out. Now let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using 2 packs of these oval shaped rounds with bark on them. I think they're super cool, and I picked them up from Hobby Lobby. They were actually 40% off. I'm also going to use some snowflakes and some ribbon. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is pick the biggest ones out of the 2 packs, and once I have them, I'm going to start making a shape of a circle. As you can see now, I have all of them ready to go, and then I'm going to select some of the medium / smallest pieces on those packages, and I'm going to put them in between the big ones. These ones are actually going to hold our circle together, and you will see here in a little bit we are going to glue them. And so right now I'm going to finish up putting on top the ones that we need. Now using hot glue, I go in and start gluing those little pieces in between the biggest ones. You can definitely use some wood glue. I am using just regular hot glue. I hope they stay in place and they don't go anywhere, but I do plan on putting this on my front porch, and I think I should have used a little bit more glue, but we'll see how this holds up. So here we are finishing up this part. Now that you have your wreath ready to go, this part is going to be whatever you like for your wreath to have. I wouldn't mind to have a bow, so I'm taking this Dollar Tree tulle ribbon that has those little white specks on it, and I'm going to do a bow. So I take the ribbon and I kind of just loop it around a few times, and then once I'm happy with the color and how thick this bow is, I'm gonna take it, and then I'm going to find the middle in this piece, and then I'm gonna cinch it, and with a zip tie I'm going to zip tie it in the middle, and that is going to create a really cute bow. Now I usually do each bow separate, but you can add all the bows at once if you like. I just find this that works better for me, especially because most of the time I don't know how I want my bows until I am doing it. So that's the reason behind it. So now I'm going to take this other ribbon I have, and I want to say I did pick it up from Dollar Tree, but I could be wrong. I had it in my stash. So this is just burlap ribbon. I'm going to use that to create a bow, and this is just a simple bow. It's the I call it the shoe tie bow because it does look like when you tie your shoes, so that's what I call it, but I know that's not what it's called. But anyways, once we have that bow, I take a piece of the same burlap ribbon to cover up the middle on that green bow, just so it can cover up the zip tie we just put on there because it was red. And then I'm going to hot glue the bows together, and here they are. I think I should have made this bow a little bit bigger, but it's going to work. Now what I'm gonna do is add some hot glue to the wreath. I decided I want this bow to be on the top. You could put it at the bottom, on the side, wherever you like it the most. Mine is gonna go on the top, and then I'm going to take this Dollar Tree snowflakes. They're both from Dollar Tree. The white ones are actually styrofoam snowflakes, and they have a little bit of shine to them. I really like them, so I decided to put the clear ones at the bottom and then the white ones right in the middle, and I think they look really good. Then I have one left over, and I decided to glue it into the middle of my wreath. And after we are done doing this, we are almost done. All we need now is a hanger to be able to hang our wreath. So what I'm going to do is take this twine. It's actually wired, and I'm going to use that to create a hanger. So I take my scissors, cut what I need, and then I just wrap it around. I will add a little bit of hot glue to it just to extra secure it. And that is all for this project. It's super easy, and I think this turned out super, super cute. Now let's take a look at the end result. Creative Squad, thank you so much for joining me on another DIY video. For those of you that are new to my channel, hi, my name is Wendy, and I love sharing my creative space with you. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, I would hope you consider subscribing and joining this Creative Squad. In this channel, we love crafting, everything to do with doing it on your own. We love it here. So if you're looking for something like that, then be sure to stick around. For this project, I'm going to be using this wooden plank I picked up from Dollar Tree, as well as these foam dies. This is a pack of 4. I'm going to use these square beads, and I'm also going to use some white paint. Ignore the black one. First thing I'm going to do is take the wooden plank and remove the hanger. The hanger is being held by some staples, so I will remove the staples on one side. The other side, they were a little bit more in, and it was a little bit hard, and I did not want to mess with the bark on the edges, so we're gonna leave it alone. So after we are done doing that, we are moving into our dies. And so what I did is take a skewer, a wooden skewer, stick it to one of the sides of this cube, and then paint the rest of the cube. So the idea with this is that the part where we stick the skewer is going to be glued down, and then the other 5 sides of this cube are going to be painted, and they're going to be totally fine. So once I painted the dies, I found this yard oh my god, this jar, and we're going to sit the skewers on there so they can dry. Now I try to speed up this process by using my heat gun and help the paint dry a little bit faster so I could give these dies another coat of paint. And I don't know if it was the heat from the gun or if it was the dies being made out of foam, but the paint did crack a little bit, but to me it's totally fine. You might want to let them dry on their own and see how that goes. Now after I was done painting the dies, it's time to add some words to it. I decided to spell the word snow, and I am using these letters from Michaels. I've used it in a few other projects. They're small, but I really like them for this project. The dies are not as big, so these letters were just fine. If you have a Cricut machine, you could also cut the words with your Cricut machine, or if you find stickers that are a shape that you like or lettering you like, then you can also use stickers. So what I did is glue the letters down, and that W at the end might have been an M, and I just put it upside down to make it into a W. Maybe, just maybe. But anyways, once we are done gluing the letters down, we are going to glue the cubes down onto the plank. Ignore my last cube. Yes, I messed up. That was supposed to go at the bottom, but we messed up and we're just gonna roll with it. So ignore it. So what we're doing now is gluing the cubes down onto the plank, and one by one, I just glued them at the bottom. I don't glue it on the sides. And then once that is done, we are going to add those glittery snowflakes that you can see on the back. And I was trying to figure out where I want them to sit, and I decided I want one on the front and one on the bottom. So that's what we're gonna do. So I add some hot glue, glue my first snowflake to the front, and then we're going to glue the other one to the back. This is a super easy project, and you can stop right here. You will see how cute this looks. It looks really, really cute, but I decided I want this sign to have legs, so I am using those beaded cubes that I showed you at the beginning, and I'm going to glue them one on each corner, and that's gonna give this sign some legs. And I think it turns out really cute. It was a really fun and easy project to do. I hope you love it as well, and that is all for this project. So let's take a look at the end result. For my last but not least project, I am using this Dollar Tree sign. We actually removed the wording on it and I had it laying around. I've been dying to use it. So here we are trying to make something out of this. I'm also going to use these snowflakes and these little clips that I removed from a different project and I had laying around. So first thing I'm going to do is add the snowflakes. So I decided to use two of the white glittery ones and one of the clear ones. It does have some sparkle, but it's definitely not crazy or a lot. So I decide I'm using 3 snowflakes. So we are going to start hot gluing each onto our sign, or I guess it's not going to be a sign, but you'll see here in a little bit. So we're gonna glue our first snowflake down, then we are going to glue the second one, and then we're going to glue the one in the middle, try to get it in the middle. So once we had glued that down into place, here is what it's looking like so far. Now we are going to start screwing our little clips onto it. I decide to go at the bottom. My idea with this project is to use it to hold pictures. I want to use it for pictures, but you can use it to hold important papers, maybe even your keys. You can use it for whatever you want. So what I'm going to do now is screw the screw onto the frame first, and then once I create the hole, I will unscrew it, and then I will screw the clip together with the screw. As you can see, I'm unscrewing the screw. It's so tiny. It was so tedious to do, and this was the best way I could figure out to do it. And then as you can see, now we're just going to screw it right onto that hole we just created, and there you have it. Now we're gonna finish the other one off camera. So I like this project, but I think it was missing something. So I decided to grab some ribbon and we are going to add a bow. So I'm going to start with the tool we used on our first project, the wreath. And instead of looping it around to create a bow, we are going to cut pieces of it. And then I was like, do I like it like this? Then I decided to create some, like, I guess, strands on the edges, and I was like, I don't know if I love it. I really wanted to use some greenery, but I did not have any that I like, so this is the best I can come up with. Once I did all of that, I took this burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree and I created another bow. As you can see, I am cinching it right in the middle. We're gonna hold it with a clip. We're not gonna zip tie it yet. Then I take this other ribbon I also picked up from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut 4 pieces the exact same size, and what I'm gonna do is dovetail the ends, and then we are going to start snapping these pieces together. So I do the tulle and the burlap ribbon together with a zip tie. Then once I have it there, I'm like, now it's time to add the other pieces of ribbon I just cut. And so I do add all 4 of them. I just stack them together. And then I felt like it was still looking a little bit lonely, so I decided to use some raffia to create another bow. And I just wrapped it around my hand, and then once I was happy, then I take that and I'm gonna zip tie these pieces together with another zip tie. I know a lot of zip ties, but you know, I always think I know what I'm gonna do, but then when I'm doing it, I'm like, no, and it needs this or it needs that, or maybe I'll remove this. So we go with the flow. Like, you can have ideas, but then when you're on it and you're already working it, you're like, maybe I don't like that. So it's okay to change your mind. So I decided to trim the edges on the raffia just to make it a little bit more spiky. And then that is all for that bow. We're just going to cover the middle where we have the zip ties so we don't see it. And there we have the bow. Now I decide that this tool is way too flimsy, so I have to glue it to our bow to make sure it stays in place and it's not like going crazy or anything. And then once we have that, we are going to take the two pieces and we are going to glue our bow right on top. And I think this gives it that little something I was missing. It was a really easy project. I hope you try it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Then I decided I need another snowflake, because why not? So I take this snowflake I had laying around and we're going to hot glue it right in the middle. That one's actually from Hobby Lobby. It came in a pack. We used it in a project. It will be showing right here on your top right if you want to check it out. And that completes this project. I hope you love it. Let's take a look at the end result.
Hello and welcome to my creative space. Welcome to another DIY video. Today I have 3 super easy Christmas DIYs, so let's jump right in. For this project, I'm going to be using these wooden planks from Dollar Tree. I'm also going to be using some greenery and some ribbon, but feel free to pick whatever you want to use to decorate it. The first thing I'm going to do is take these 4 pieces of wooden planks and I'm going to hot glue it together. You can use wood glue to make sure that they're extra secure. I'm going to be okay with glue because they're going to be sitting inside my house, so it should be okay. But if you want to use them for outdoors, you might want to use some wood glue or E6000. Okay, so as you know, if you use these planks in the past, these planks for some reason they're not even, so you kind of have to play with them a little bit and make sure you line them up as the best as you can. But they're going to be a little bit crooked and you'll see in a second. So once I glue the first 3 pieces, you can see that this other one does not fit correctly, but you kind of just have to like play with it and move it around to where it fits the other piece. Now, I didn't buy a 5th piece to cover the top and the bottom. Totally forgot about that. But I'm going to be using these other wooden planks that I have. And they're also from Dollar Tree. It's a pack of, I believe, 8 of them. Let's see, well, actually 6 of them. And I'm going to be using those to cover the top and the bottom. They're not going to fit perfectly, but it's okay because I'm going to be covering that up with ribbon in a little bit. So it'll be okay. So what I do is take 2 pieces for the top and 2 for the bottom. And since, like I said, these wooden planks are not even, I kind of have to cut each of them to fit that side. So I take a pencil, I mark it, and then I take my electric saw, and then that's what we're going to be using. So here's my first 2 pieces. To glue them in place, I'm going to use some more hot glue. And like I said, I have to make sure that they go in the side that they are supposed to go, because otherwise they're not going to fit because they're cut to the size. So here I am gluing those 2 pieces down. I did the other 2 off camera. And now what I'm going to do is add my ribbon. I have this one from Dollar Tree. I wanted to stay in the neutral side, but I was like, you know what? Let's add some red. So I'm going to add this ribbon to it, and I'm going to cut it to the size I need it to cover the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to hot glue that first piece. Then I'm going to glue the other one to the top. Then we're going to turn it around and we're going to glue the bottom. Now, I did cut one of the pieces a little bit shorter because I wanted some ribbon to make a bow. And I did not have any more ribbon. So bear with me. This is going to go at the bottom. So I make sure that the piece that is going to go over our space was long enough to cover it, because I don't want to see that. So I glue that piece down first, and once that one is done, then we're gonna glue the second one. The second one that crisscrosses is not gonna cover the entire thing, but it's okay because it's gonna be at the bottom. But if you have enough ribbon, go all around, cover the entire piece completely. Now here's what our gift is looking like. Now I have this extra piece of ribbon and I'm going to use that to do a bow. I just glue it in the middle, and then with a zip tie, I'm going to secure it. I did add some glue because I just wanted the extra security, but you might not need to if you're going to be zip tying it, but you know, we go with it. So once I do that, then our ribbon or our bow is ready to go. I'm going to hot glue it into place, and then I'm going to start adding the greenery. Now here you can have whatever greenery pieces you want. I only have this one, and what I did is cut it individual pieces, and then I'm gonna glue that greenery on there. I decided to just go with the greenery and the pine cone, but you can add more color, more greenery. It's up to you. Have fun. That is all for this project. It was super easy to do. Let me know your thoughts, and let me show you the end result. Creative Squad, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're loving the ideas. This is our first Christmas DIY video of the year, and I can't wait to show you what else more I have coming. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Wendy, and I love sharing my creative space with you. If you're not already, I would hope you consider subscribing and joining this Creative Squad. Now, I got more ideas for you, so let's jump back into the video. For this project, I'm going to be using this styrofoam cone, candle holder, some jute, and some spray paint. The first thing I'm going to do is take the jute, and I'm going to cut 3 pieces. I don't have a size for you, but I will say the longer you cut them, the harder it'll be to braid them, because that's what I'm going to be doing here shortly. So I found out that the shorter they are, the easier they are to manipulate and create the braid. So here is what I did. I knotted one of the ends, and then I went in and started braiding it. Once I did that, I did a couple of pieces. One was shorter than the other because I did struggle with this first one. But then once I had those braids, then I grabbed my lighter and I started burning this rope because the little threads were sticking out, and I am looking for a cleaner look. So that's what I did. I burned all the edges, and once that was done, then that's when I take my styrofoam cone, sorry, I can't speak, and I'm gonna glue this braid onto it. If you have a thicker jute, you can use that. It'll give it that look too, but I really wanted this look because I feel like the braid, it's flatter, and it the look that I had in my mind, this was gonna give it to me. So that's why I end up using this instead of actual thick rope, but it's up to you. It's gonna work out. Now once I get to the top and we get to the knot, then I keep it, and that's what I use to cover that top part. And then what I do next is take our candle holder, spray paint it, and then we're gonna hot glue our piece onto it. This looks good as is, but I really wanted everything to be gold. So what I do is take my spray paint, and I'm gonna spray paint all of this together. Originally I was gonna leave it as is with just the gold candle holder and then the Christmas tree at the top with just the jute rope, but I really thought that the gold was gonna give it a better look, so I went in, and I'm glad I did because I really love how this project turned out. Now let me show you the end result. For the next project, I'm going to be using this 11 by 14 inch frame and also some caulk. What I'm going to do first is remove the wrapper on this frame and take it apart. Now, originally, what I was going to do is use the same picture that this frame has inside for our project. But as you will see here in a second, once I flip it over, I was going to use the white side. You can still see the picture in the back, and that was just not going to work. So what I end up doing is grabbing this placemat that I already had But Dollar Tree does carry these in different colors, so you could use one of those. And I'm going to be using this one because it's white, and that's the color I'm going for. It was more like white silver-ish, and I really like that. So what I do is take that placemat and then I mark it, and then I'm going to cut it. Once I cut it and make sure that it fits inside my frame, then I'm going to glue it to the back of our frame, and that's going to hold it into place. Now, once I do that, then I'm going to hot glue it while it's still inside, just to make sure it's going to fit fine. I didn't want to mess with it. So I did it while it was inside. Then I pull it up, and here we have it. Now that our piece is out, then I cut a tree, or I guess a triangle, out of paper. And I'm going to trace that because I need guidance to see where we're going to be placing our caulk. So once the tree is marked down, then we're going to go in with the caulk. I will say that even though I had this marked, I still mess it up, but we kind of fix it. So bear with me. So what I'm going to do is take my caulk, and I'm going to go inside this triangle, or try to go inside the triangle. I cut the caulk tip into an angle to create leaves, kind of like the spikes that the Christmas trees have. Didn't work out so well, I will say. Maybe I don't have the technique down, but what I do to fix it here in a little bit is cut a piece of cardboard in triangle shape, and that helped me to shape this Christmas tree a lot better. Now, I'm going to add the caulk like you're seeing now. You see, it's kind of making the spikes a little bit, but it's not as full as I wanted it to be. So I take this piece of cardboard, as you can see, and now I'm manipulating all this caulk that I added. And I liked it a lot more. I kind of spread it up. I also don't want this to be so bulky because I am going to place this back into the frame, and I want to be able to close it. So this piece of cardboard really helped to spread out this caulk that was kind of just in a lump. So it really helped. And then from here, you can play with it and create the leaves that you want, the stems, whatever they're called, and try to stick inside the triangle, because by the end, you'll see in a second, I kind of went more towards the left, so my tree was leaning to one side and it was not centered at all. I don't know what happened. I think that when I was spreading it, I didn't realize that I was going way farther out than from the triangle, and so I ended up messing it up. See, you can see here, but I fixed it and it got a little bit more chunky towards the top, but that's okay. It still looks good to me. Now you can leave it here, wait for it to dry, and paint it if you want to paint it. But what I wanted to do is keep it white, and I just added this gold flakes, foil flakes that I had, and I actually used in one of my past projects. If you know which one it is, comment down below. But I added those to the tree because I want to keep with the theme, the gold, the white, the neutral, and I really think that this gave it that touch that I needed, and I just added it on there. Once I felt it was enough, some of them were sticking up, so I grabbed another piece of cardboard and kind of pushed them down to make sure they're gonna stay in place. And then after I did that, then I go to the trunk. I painted it in the color brown, and that was it. You can leave it as is. I really wanted to paint it because I just felt like I didn't want this whole thing to be all white. And so the trunk, I painted it brown. But that is all I did for this project. It was super easy to do. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Which one's your favorite? And yeah, let me know what other ideas you would like to see, what other DIYs you would like to see me do. I would love a challenge, so let me know. But that is all for this project, so let me show you the end result.
Creative Squad, thank you so much for joining me on another video. I hope you love these DIYs, and if you did, leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe. I will be using these glass frames and vinyl from Dollar Tree and some gold spray paint. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is remove the glass, and I'm going to spray paint my frames. You are welcome to leave them as they are or spray paint them a different color. I choose mine to be gold. Next, I use my Cricut machine to cut these Christmas trees. You can also draw them on the vinyl and then use your scissors to cut them. I've done that before and it works just as well. And I also end up going for green vinyl instead of the one I showed you at the beginning. That's definitely up to you what color you want to use. What I'm doing now is trying to remove the sticky tape that the frame came with, and I used some alcohol to try to remove it. It worked on one of the glass, but not the other one. So I'm gonna leave it as is. It's gonna get covered up anyway. So what I'm doing now is transferring the vinyl onto one of the glass pieces, and then here it is. And now I'm going to do the second one, and I kind of wish that I would have done two different trees, not the same one, but here we are. I still think that this turned out really great, and it's super easy and very inexpensive to do. So what I'm going to do now is apply the other glass piece that came with the frame, and that is all for this project. I absolutely love how this turned out. I want to know your thoughts in the comments down below. So now that we are done, let's take a look at the end result. Creative Squad, thank you so much for watching, and if you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Wendy and I love sharing my creative space with you. If you're not already, I hope you consider subscribing and joining this Creative Squad. For extra content, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, especially TikTok, because a lot of the content there does not make it here, and I promise you I have more ideas. I know we're here for DIY, so let's jump right back into the video. For this project, I'm going to be using 3 different sizes of ornaments, some floral foam, and 2 candle holders from Dollar Tree, some greenery, and let's jump in. What I'm going to do is add some paint to this ornament because I want it to be white, and this is the only ornament I have, so I am adding paint on the inside and moving it around until it's completely covered up. I did not want to paint it on the outside because I risk the paint scraping off or scratching it and it's not gonna look good anymore, so I added the paint on the inside, and that way the paint is gonna be intact. Next, I am going to take the glass candle holders. These are from Dollar Tree and I am using 2 of them. You're more than welcome to only use 1. I am using 2 because I want mine to be tall, so I'm hot gluing them together. And now, using gold spray paint, we are going to spray paint this candle holder. This is what it's looking like now. Now I'm going to take my floral foam, hot glue it on top of it, and we are going to add some green moss. Now, I did not show you this at the beginning. This was kind of a later decision, so here we are. I'm hot gluing it onto the floral foam because once we go with the greenery, I don't want that green to show, so I'm covering up with some green moss. Next, I'm going to be taking the first ornament. I'm starting from the largest to the smallest, so I'm gluing that first one down, then I'm gonna go with the red, and then at the end I'm going to do the gold. And this is what we got going on. You can also use E6000 if you want it to be extra secured. Now what I'm going to do next is start to add my greenery. All of this greenery is actually from Dollar Tree. I did use it last year and I recycled my greenery, so I already had it on hand. And what I did is add the greenery first, and then I started adding all the other ones. I had these ones, these leaves that are frosted with these white berries. Then I had this eucalyptus like white pigs, and then I had those brown branches with the red berries, and they were the perfect touch of red for this decoration. I really love how this turned out. I also add some jingle bells, and that was all for this project. I really love how this one turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now let's take a look at the end result. this project, I'm going to be using this wire wreath, this ceramic house, the greenery, some lights, and some ribbons. What I'm going to do first is add the greenery. What I do to make it easier for me is make 2 different bunches of the greenery, and then I zip tie them together. I don't glue them there yet, but we will secure them into the wreath in a second. I'm gonna take this popsicle stick that I cut to the size I needed, and I'm gonna hot glue it to the wreath. Next, I'm going to take the little house and I'm going to hot glue it on top of the popsicle stick. By the way, all of these items are from Dollar Tree. That wreath comes in a pack of 3 and this is the largest ring. If you need to know which one I'm talking about, check the links in my description box. If I can find it online, I will put it there so you know which pack of rings I'm talking about. And now I'm taking the lights, and as you can see, I taped down some of that cable that sticks out and just lift the wire that I'm going to actually be wrapping. I'm going to put it to the side for now, and I'm going to grab the 2 bunches of greenery we just did earlier, and now is the time to attach them. So once the house is glued down, I get those bunches as close as I can to the middle, and I zip tie them into place. Zip tie work just fine. They're not going to move around, but if you feel like you need to hot glue it, then you can definitely add hot glue to it, but I promise you zip ties work best. Preferably if you have white ones or black, it could look better, but I only had these red ones, so we're working with those. Now I'm going to hot glue the box of batteries, and I'm making sure I don't glue the part that you unscrew to replace the batteries. You kind of want to have access to that so you're able to change the batteries as you need. And now this is what we got going on. Now I decided to add a bow so I can cover up, you know, all that greenery that is sticking, and to make it look nice. So I'm gonna do a bow with the burlap ribbon, and it's a simple bow. I just tied it like I tie my shoe, and we got a bow. Then I dovetail the ends. I also end up using this other ribbon I had on hand. It's a lace ribbon that I think it goes perfect with these colors, and I was gonna leave it as is now, but then I decided to add some touch of green, so I'm adding this other bow in this color green, and that is all for this project. Creative Squad, I apologize for not showing you how I wrapped around the lights. After I added the greenery, I wrapped around the lights on the greenery and on the ring, and that was all for this project. I lost the video, or I didn't record it. I don't know what happened, but here is the end result. I hope you love this project. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. To need for this project is 2 ornaments, one slightly smaller than the other. I'm going to be using this lid from a candle, and I'm going to be using some half pearl beads. I'm also going to use gold paint. And now the first thing I'm going to do is take the biggest ornament. This one is from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using this hot tool. This is actually used for engraving on wood, and it works really great for this. I'm going to remove it. I'm sure that you can also cut it off with something really sharp, or maybe get a knife and get it really hot and then try to cut it. I am using this tool as it's easier for me. I just plug it, gets hot, and then all I have to do is cut it off, and then that is it. Now after I do that, I do take a sanding sponge to try to sand that down, but I kind of scratched the ornament a little bit, so I don't know if that was the best tool to use. I probably should have just gone back with the hot tool and then try to remove the excess on it. You could probably cut it off with a knife and something, or maybe something really sharp, and it would cut it a little bit better than the hot tool, but I mean, it's working for me. I'm just going around it on the inside to try to make it a little bit bigger. And then what I'm going to do next is take the other ornament. I also remove the hanging part of it, and I try to push it into the ornament, and once it's in, it's a little bit wobbly, so I added some hot glue. I would say be really careful and put it like
on the inside of the big ornament. That way you avoid any coming out in between the two ornaments. I hope that makes sense. And then once they are glued together, I'm gonna take this lid and I'm going to glue our soon to be snowman onto it. I'm using hot glue. Feel free to use maybe E6000, be a little bit stronger. I'm gonna go with hot glue because that's what I have on hand. Now after I do that, I have these half pearl beads that I don't even remember where I got them from, but I had them for a while, and I'm gonna be using some of those. I also cut off that little piece of that wooden towel that already has a point to it, and that's going to be our nose. And now I'm going to start gluing the half pearls. The bigger ones are going to be our buttons, and the smallest ones are going to be the eyes. I glued the buttons first, and then because that's our center, and then I glued the nose. And once I had the nose in place, then that's when I go with the eyes, just to try to make sure that they're even and they're not crooked looking. So I do that next. Once I add the eyes, our snowman, it's almost done. Now what we're gonna do next is spray paint. I decided to go with gold, but feel free to use whatever color you want. White will probably look great as well, but I'm gonna go with gold because that's the look I really want. I give it 2 coats of this paint, and that was all for this project. This was such an easy project, and I think it turned out looking really, really great. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I hope you like this DIY. Now let's take a look at the end result. Creative Squad, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're loving the ideas. Now I just wanted to stop very briefly to remind you that you can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok for additional content. Also, if you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Wendy, and I love sharing my creative space with you. If you are not already, I would hope you consider subscribing and joining this Creative Squad. I know we're here for more ideas, so let's jump into the next one. For this project, I'm going to be using a clear reindeer from Dollar Tree, as well as this metal circle. I got it from Dollar Tree as well. And then a small candle, and of course our gold paint. First thing I'm going to do is take this gold circle. This actually came in a pack, and I did bought it from Dollar Tree last year. I don't remember how many they came with this, but it was a few of them. And all I'm gonna do is hot glue that on top of our reindeer. Next, I'm going to take the spray paint and I'm going to spray paint the reindeer. I give it a good coat on both sides, and that is all. This project was so easy to do, and I think it turns out so pretty and so high end. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And now let's take a look at the end result. Creative Squad, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to let me know in the comments down below your favorite DIY. Also, if you have any ideas for any future videos, I would love to hear those. Please let me know. Also, don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And if you're for this project, I'm going to be using these wooden planks from Dollar Tree. They measure 12 by 2, and I end up using 9 of them. I'm gonna use some white paint and some stain. A 2 by 4. This one measures 2.5 feet, I believe. And then I'm gonna start with the wooden planks first. I took a piece of paper and I cut it to the size of the angle I need it to be using. All of them are gonna be cut to this angle, so I trace that with a pencil first, and then I'm gonna take my handsaw and I'm going to be trimming all of these. I cut the angle first, and then I'm gonna cut these in different sizes. I took the first one, and I'll show you here in a second what sizes I did. I believe this one is 4 inches tall. I'll show you here in a second. Here I am cutting these pieces. This is what I'm trying to do. Create our Christmas tree. Now I use, as you can see, it's 4
5.5, 6, 7, 7 again, and then 9. Or I believe that one was 8 and 9. And then I think the last one was a 9.5. I did not show it because I actually had to run to Dollar Tree to buy another piece. But I end up painting 8 of them in the color white. The other 8 were actually already stained, so I did not have to do that. I recycle them from a past project. So but you can paint them whatever color you want. Okay, now it's time to start gluing all these pieces together. The 2x4, it's already painted white, but of course you can paint it whatever color you want. I start with the very tip of the tree and I grab the smallest ones, which measure 4 inches, and I hot glue them together. I did not want to staple them because I don't want to see the staples on there, but so I glued them with hot glue. Then I took the next size, which I think is 5.5 inches, I believe, and I just start from the smallest to the largest at the bottom. So I use the wooden piece to help me see, like, create the gap for the white pieces to go. You can actually glue them right under the brown ones. Like, you can do a brown and a white, a brown and a white, but I decided I want the white ones to be sitting on top of the brown ones. That was just my preference. And I like that there's gonna be like they're overlapping together instead of all straight flat. And then here I am finishing gluing all the rest. If you have a nail gun, I would probably use it. I don't have one. I need to buy me one. But yeah, it would make a difference if you nail these down instead of gluing them. It will be a lot more resistant. But anyway, I ended up going to Dollar Tree and picked up this bucket. Fluorofoam, I already had it. I had that green moss. I had these rocks. All of this is from Dollar Tree, actually. Well, the fluorofoam is not. It's from Amazon. But I ended up picking up this bucket to sit my tree inside. Originally, I was going to nail it down to a wooden piece, but then I was like, no, it's not gonna look nice. So I found this bucket and I decided to go for this instead. I just hot glue the 2x4 down to the bucket. As you can see, just a lot of hot glue. Now I will say that I ended up going back and correcting some of this stuff because I was so excited it was done, put it outside, and then it was really windy that night and it knocked it down and it broke it, and I was heartbroken too because I worked so hard on this. So what I would suggest is put a lot of rocks inside, make it really heavy. And if you want to add the green moss, and so instead of rocks at the very top, then you can just hot glue the moss to the very top. What I originally did was add the fluorofoam and then the rocks and then the floral moss. But again, it broke, so don't do that. It's gonna, unless you're gonna keep it inside, which this is meant for outdoor for me. But if you're gonna sit it inside, then it's gonna be totally fine. But if you want it weatherproof, make sure you put rocks inside, make it really heavy so it does not knock it down, and then go on top with floral moss, or I guess green moss, to make it look nicer. That's my only suggestion. After some struggle, we finished the DIY. So let's take a look at the end result. For the next outdoor project, I'm using these snowflakes from Dollar Tree. I'm also going to use some white chalk paint, some glitter, and some Mod Podge to seal it. And now, first thing we're going to do is take our wooden snowflake and my chalk white paint. Any information you need from any of the products used, check out the description box for that information and links. And so after I give it a coat of paint and before it dries, I'm gonna spray some Mod Podge, and then I'm gonna go on top with some glitter. I know glitter's not for everybody. I love glitter, so I'm gonna sparkle it up, but feel free to skip this step and just, and you can also paint these snowflakes any color you want. I just choose to stay with white because I want them to be white. That's it. Then after I sparkle all the glitter, I'm going to go on top with some Mod Podge, and just to make sure it's going to be sealed, and try to get that glitter to stay on it. And if you need to add more, you add more, or you call it a day. Then we're going to put it to the side and we're going to let it dry. Next, we're going to move to these snowflakes. They're like cardboard snowflakes. And I tried this paint, and yes, I gave it one coat and it got painted, but I feel like these ones, because of the material they're made of, the paint gets absorbed. And so what I did is give it one coat of paint, me hand painting these ones, and then I let them dry, and then I went on top with some white spray paint, and it helped a lot in making them turn white, or I guess paint them white. So here I am after the first coat of liquid paint. I go on top with some spray paint, and that's good enough for me. Now I'm not going to add glitter to this ones. I'm going to leave them as is. We're going to let them dry, and then we're going to go outside. Come with me. Here is what we're working with. I use this planters with the wooden sticks and the lights for my Halloween decoration, and we're going to be using them for Christmas as well. So I'm going to be using the snowflakes. Let's put the plastic ones to the side. We're not going to use them right now, but we will use them. You'll see what happens here in a little bit, because we struggle on this DIY too. I'm going to separate all the snowflakes, and the idea is to glue them to our wooden piece, and we're gonna arrange them in a way that they're gonna look super cute. So here's what we're working with. I'm gonna lay them down first, put them down however I want them to sit. So we're gonna start with this bigger one at the bottom. Initially I was going to use this foam squares, and they are two-sided. They're sticky on both sides, and I took them. Some of them worked really good, but some others didn't. So I do end up adding some hot glue to some of them, but for the most part, this worked great. I think it also had to do with the lights being in the way, so some of them got pushed a little bit and did not let them grip to the actual wood, but that can easily be fixed by hot gluing them instead. So I add my first snowflake, and how cute is this? I love how sparkly it is, and then at night it looks super cute. Then here is what we're working with. I put the bigger ones, and then I sit the thicker ones on top, and I alternate from each. And then here I am showing you one more time what I did. This is what I'm talking about, because we're going to be putting this one right above the other one. They're like kind of overlapping on each other, and I think that it does not let this snowflake grip to the wood. So these ones were some of the ones that I had to hot glue into place. So that's what we got going on. Then here I am removing the back of this little sticky foams. And here I am. I'm going to place it right there, and we don't place it right on top of it. We kind of make it overlap with the one at the bottom. And yes, I'm sorry, I was trying to show you, but I cannot do this by myself. So here is what we got going on. How cute is that? And I will finish the rest off camera. Let me know what you think about this idea. To me, it turned out great, but I want to know what you think. And if you like these outdoor DIYs, are you going to give it a try? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me show you the end result. Creative Squad, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out Instagram and TikTok for additional content. Also, don't forget
and welcome to my creative space. Thank you so much for joining me on another DIY video. Today I have more Christmas DIYs. I know you're gonna love them, so let's jump right in. For this project, I'm going to use two of these Dollar Tree wooden planks. They're 2 by 18. I'm going to use green paint. Ignore the candle holder. We're not going to use it. And I'm going to use some greenery. We'll need another extra piece and you'll see. First thing I'm going to do is take my first wooden plank and I'm going to mark at 5.5 inches. Then I'll trace that line. I'll mark it again. And then the bottom line is going to be, the bottom piece is actually going to be like about 7 inches. So then I'll take the other piece, I'll mark those lines, and then using my saw, I'm going to trim those pieces. Now, here are all the pieces together. What I'm going to need is a bottom piece, and I did not have a Dollar Tree wooden plank that I could use, so I will be using that scrap of wood, but Dollar Tree does carry those wooden planks. You could definitely grab them from there. I believe this one measures about 9 inches. I needed that to be a little bit longer. That's why I don't end up using the Dollar Tree one. Now I'm going to start gluing the first 3 pieces. As you remember, we have a longer one. That one's going to go at the bottom, and then I'll place the other 2 small ones. Now off camera, I do the second one, and here they are. Now I'm going to take this green paint I found at Hobby Lobby. It was only 49 cents. It's a pretty good color. They had different colors and I've never seen them before. I believe it's called Crafty, but very, very good quality for a 49-cent paint. I highly recommend it. Now, to help this process go a little faster, I'm using my Hebe Crafter heat gun to dry this paint off so we can move to the next step. Now, here are my 3 pieces together. I'm going to be taking my 2 pieces, and I'm sure you already know what we're making. We're making a little Christmas tree out of wood. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the bottom piece, just a little bit to where it's going to hold our piece. Now we will reinforce it here in a second. I do end up adding a little bit of glue on the other side as well, just a tiny bit, because I don't want that to like push up and then have lumps of glue. Then I will add some glue to the top, and with a silicone cover, finger cover, I'm gonna wipe it because I don't want that to be a big bump, and then we're gonna paint this later. Now once it's dry, I knock it down so I can add a lot more glue very carefully, because remember, we did not put a lot of glue there. So I take that little tree and you can already see what it's looking like, and then I add a lot of hot glue. And this glue gun is actually very, very good. It heats up really hot, and then when it dries, it really tightens those things and rarely come apart. Check out the link in my description box. Now, while that dries down, I take this fluorofoam. This is an optional step. From there, you can decorate it however you want, but I think this is a super, super cute. So I take that fluorofoam and then I add a bunch of moss to it. I glue it to the sides. That way, it doesn't come apart. Then once it's all glued together, I am going to take some greenery and we will decorate it. Now this greenery is from Walmart. I bought it last year. I had it laying around and I was like, I really love that one, so I'm gonna use it. So I cut little pieces. I also add some of the Dollar Tree, those with the white berries is from Dollar Tree, and then I end up taking those berries off later because I don't like them. As you can see now, I'm gonna remove them because I just didn't think it went with the colors I had in mind. So I removed the white berries and I just used the greenery. Then once I add all the greenery I want there, then I'm gonna add this adorable Santa that I found at Dollar Tree. It's super cute. I really like him and I think it gives it that pop of Christmas we need. Then I'm gonna add a few ornaments as well from Dollar Tree, and I think they go so well with the colors I got going on, and I'm gonna place 4 of them in there. And now it's time to put our piece together, and this turns out super cute. I absolutely love it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let's take a look at the end result. Creative Squad, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're loving the first DIY. Don't worry, I got more coming. I wanted to stop and say hi and also remind you that there is many more DIYs on my channel that are so good and I know you're gonna love them. So check the link down below in my description box. Also, don't forget to check my Instagram, especially TikTok, because I do post other content that does not make it to this channel and I know you're gonna love. Thank you so much for watching. Let's jump back into the video. Creative Squad, for this project, I'm going to use that Wreath Floral Foam, a bag of scented potpourri. I hope I'm saying that right. I had no idea that's what it was called. Anyways, I'm going to need some ribbon. I'm also going to use, you can either use a sign from Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using that wooden round that I already had on hand. And then I'm going to use a wooden dowel. It can be as thick as you want. And then some white spray paint. First thing I'm going to do is take the floral wreath and we are going to add the wooden dowels. Those measure 6 inches, and then I'm gonna use a pencil to create the hole, and then I'm gonna put the wooden dowels there. Then after that, I'm gonna add some hot glue and I'm gonna glue those down. I do stand it up, that way I can see that the wooden dowels are straight. And then once that is there, we are going to move to add this scented potpourri, I think it's called. Anyways, we're gonna use that to cover up the entire wreath. I use hot glue to glue those down. And then it takes a little bit of time, so be patient. I thought this was going to be fast, but it's not. But I promise you it's going to be so worth it. It looks so good at the end. Now, I'm going to do different sizes. They don't need to be the same. I used everything this bag had, and I had very little left. Then once I am done, and this is what it looks like on both sides. And don't worry, those holes we're not going to see them. Next, I take a lighter and run it all around to burn those little strings down. Then after that, we're gonna take it outside and I'm going to spray paint it. I do a whole bunch of spray paint. Just make sure everything is covered up, but that you're not able to see that floral wreath. And then don't forget the wooden dowels too. Now here is what it looks like once it's all painted. Now next step is placing this on top and see where we're going to be drilling holes so we can stick this on there. Now once I figured it out, I went with my drill. I set this on top of a little box I had just to make sure that I wasn't gonna like drill my table, and I end up drilling the box. So there is that. The next one was a little bit easier and I didn't drill anything else but what I was supposed to. Then here is our 2 pieces. Now I'm gonna add some hot glue, a little bit of glue, because I don't want this to like come up and like make a mess, so just a little bit. Then I place my wreath right on top, and this is what it's looking so far. Then you can leave it as is, or you can add any decoration you want. Now I end up using these ribbons from Dollar Tree, and I did a little simple bow. Then once I was happy with the size I wanted it to be, then I just trim it, dovetail the ends, and that is all for this project. It was so easy to do. I really love the look of it, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using that candle holder we did not use earlier. I'm going to use one of these Christmas ornaments from Hobby Lobby, a candle, and some green spray paint. I'm going to use some ribbons from Dollar Tree and some random greenery I had. We used it on the first project as well. First thing I'm going to do is take my green spray paint and we are going to spray paint our candle holder. Now it was about to rain, there was a storm coming, so I was trying to hurry up. Once I spray painted, I left it outside to dry and we move on to the ornament. Now I'm sorry this part of the video looks blurry. I did not realize my camera was dirty, so I am so sorry. But the point here is I'm gonna paint this ornament. I did not want a lot of colors going on, but I did absolutely love that green color we used earlier, so I used it for the pine trees. And then I used some white for the snowflakes and the snow, and then the rest I am going to be using some gold paint that I already had. All of these paints will be linked in the description box if you're interested. You can also just paint this one color and you'll be done. I absolutely love these ornaments. Like I said, I picked them up from Hobby Lobby. They were $240 something and they had 50% off, so you get 2 of them, and I think it's a great deal. Be sure to check them out because they have adorable Christmas decorations. So yeah, there is that. Now the next tip is to grab my greenery. I don't show this part because I feel like I do this all the time, but if you need me to include it in every single video, I absolutely don't mind. Now I just take some greenery, tie it together, then I just did that little red bow, glue it right on top, and then I'm gonna take our Christmas ornament that we just painted and we are going to glue that right behind. And then after that, all is left is to place our candle holder in the back. The idea is to make it glow and then reflect those shapes on the ornament. I think it does a okay job. I think I need a stronger, or I guess a brighter candle, but overall I really love this DIY. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and let's check out the end result. This project, I'm going to be using these gift boxes from Dollar Tree, a big one and then 2 smaller ones. I'm also going to use some greenery. As you can see, I'll be having some pops of green and red, and of course we need some jingles because it's almost Christmas. And then I need some floral foam, some moss, and we need some Christmas berries, so I picked up this LED Christmas tree. First thing I'm going to do is take the boxes. Now, I was trying to decide whether or not I wanted to use the tops. I end up going for them, so I'm gonna have to be gluing them because the little ones come off. But before we jump into that, before I make that decision, I'm gonna use some floral foam, and I end up using this dies from Dollar Tree to glue the floral foam because it was too low and I needed it to be higher for my greenery. So once I glue it, I grab the other smaller pieces and I'm gonna hot glue them right into the boxes. And then to fill in those spaces, I grabbed these Dollar Tree bags that I have so many of them, and I'm gonna fill in those spaces because I need those spaces to be filled out or filled up so I can add my moss. And then I end up adding these construction paper I have laying around that I picked up from Dollar Tree as well a while ago, and I'm gonna use that to fill in the spaces on the bigger box too, just so this moss, it's higher. I did not have that much, so I was really trying to make this last as long as I could. Then the next step is to grab our greenery. Now I'm gonna cut these in individual pieces. I do this a lot in a lot of my videos. I just think I can place them better, and so I cut them all individually, the green ones, then I do the red ones as well, and then I'm gonna do the jingles as well. I cut them in 3 branches, but then later on I do cut them a little smaller because I wasn't sure if this was gonna be enough or not. So I cut them individually, and then off camera I take all of these and I'm just gonna cut them all. And here they are. We made 3 different bunches and we're gonna put them to the side now. Now we're gonna move back to the boxes. I was trying to decide whether or not I wanted to glue these together or use the tops at all, and I ended up going for using them. So I am gonna hot glue them. I add a little bit of glue because I thought I could reuse them, but then after gluing them onto the bigger box, I was like, well, I can't be reusing this anymore. So then here we are. Now, once I glue the 2 boxes, I decided to add a wooden dowel to the bottom of the tree so it's easier for me to pick it up, to turn it on and off. And also I wanted it to sit a little bit higher in the box. So there's that. Next is a time to fill our box with some greenery. So this is where all the greenery I cut individually is going to go in.
in. Then after I add all the greenery in all the 3 boxes, I'm going to start adding the red berries into it. Now I place them here, there, wherever you think you need them. Just have fun, add as many as you want. I absolutely love how this piece turned out. It can be a great centerpiece or just a Christmas pop somewhere in your house. Try it out and let me know. Now here is our tree. I'm just gonna place it right in the middle, and how cute and sparkly is that? I love it. Now I'm going to take these little leftover branches from the greenery that we cut off earlier, cut 2 little ones, and then add 2 of those ornaments that I had left from my past project. I almost forgot the jingles, but we got them. Then I turn off the lights so you can see that this does light up. It's so cute. I absolutely love it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think this centerpiece turned out amazing, but I want to hear what you think. Thank you. Now let's take a look at the end result. Creative Squad, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're loving the ideas, and do not leave because I got more coming. Just wanted to jump here really quick and remind you, you can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok, especially TikTok because I do post videos there that do not make it to this channel. Now don't forget to subscribe if you're loving this video, and let me know in the comments down below what you think or what should I be DIY next time. Thank you, and let's jump back into the video. For this project, I'm going to be using this wood cutout that spells home, picks it up from Dollar Tree, as well as that sign you're looking at. You can use that or any piece of wood you have laying around. I will be using this one. It's about 1 foot long. It originally came in an 8 feet long, but you know, it's cut now. But you can always pick those up at Lowe's or Home Depot. They're really cheap for like $2-3, and you get all that wood that you can use for many projects. I will be using some pine cones, some greenery, and some paint. Okay, the next step is to paint our pieces. I will be using white for the word home. Now for the wooden base, I end up using some water and mix different brown colors and use that to stain my wood. Now, is it ideal? Probably not, but it works for the project. I just ran out of my stain, so I do what I can do to save this, and I think it turns out so good anyway. So there's that. Now I'm gonna use the chalk paint to paint the words, or I guess the little wood cutouts, and I'm gonna paint front, back. Make sure you get the inside if you are going to be recreating this. If you have these specific cutouts at home, I think it's a great deal. You get it, you get all 4 pieces, and I really like that. So we're gonna paint it, and then we're gonna let it dry. So here is our pieces already painted and dried. Now the happy holiday word, I was originally going to use it to glue it in the front, but I did not like it, and so that got discarded after here. So we're not gonna use it, but you're more than welcome to use that if you have it at home. Now I grab these little wooden cubes that are also from Dollar Tree, and you've seen me use those in my past projects all the time. I make these projects always a 3D. I want them to stand, I want them to be functional, so I use them a lot, and I use those to glue the little houses in place, and I just use hot glue. You can always use wood glue, but hot glue works just fine. Now it's looking great. Here it is. Now I glue them to the front because I want the greenery to hide them. We're gonna take all this greenery, cut it in pieces, and we're gonna use that. We're gonna take the pine cones, cut all of them individually, and we will set them to the side while we finish the initial part. Now I wanted this to be light up, so I picked up these twinkle lights from Dollar Tree, wrapped some of the beginning of that cord because it was too long and I didn't know what to do with it, so I wrapped it around. Now I'm gonna take my box and I'm gonna hot glue it down to one of the corners. You pick, just make sure the switch is where you can access it to turn it on and off. Then I take the twinkle lights and I'm gonna start placing them down. Now I will be hot gluing the little cord into the cubes. That way they don't go anywhere, they're not moving or anything. So I glue those down. And next, after we do that, make sure you glue your box. Then originally, I wanted to have that box free where I can be able to switch batteries. But then after I started gluing the greenery, I realized that was going to be a little bit hard to do, especially because this wood is so thin. Not thin, very narrow. There's not enough space, but it's gonna be totally fun. Just wish me luck. I hope that these lights last the entire Christmas. I think they will. I think they'll be okay. But yeah, just make sure that you don't glue nothing to the actual top because you won't be able to open them to add batteries. So just keep that in mind. Then after I added the initial greenery on the edges, I start placing some pine cones and it's looking so cute already. Then I'm gonna fill in the spaces that are left with more greenery, of course, and then we're gonna add pine cones in between. I glue the greenery down first and then I start adding the pine cones. I add a bunch of pine cones. I think it looks really cute. And then once it's at night and you turn this on, it's so cute. I absolutely love it. This project was so easy to do. It's so cheap to make and I think it turns out beautiful. But who am I? I DIY this and of course I'm gonna be biased. So let me know in the comments down below what you think and let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using this beaded trays that Dollar Tree started selling. They had the oval shape one and the round one. I will be using the oval shape. They're super cute. If you see them, you should pick them up because you can do so many things with them. I'm going to be using a reindeer, some pine cones, and this LED candle. First thing, I'm going to take my tray and I was just going to place the candle inside the ring of pine cones, but it kind of blends in. So I was like, we got to do something about it. So I take this matte white paint, spray paint, and I'm gonna spray that onto the pine cones. This is so they can pop more on the tray. You can either paint the tray or you can paint the pine cones, whichever you like. Then after I painted it, I added some sparkles so it can be shiny and cute. I love glitter, so I'm gonna go all in with glitter. Every time I get a chance to use the glitter, I'm gonna use it. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then after I sparkle it, I'm gonna let it dry. And here is what it looks like. Now all is left. This is such an easy project and I think it's so cute. You place the candle inside the pine cones and then you just take your reindeer. You can spray paint it any color you like. I think this color looks great for the color of the tray, so I'm gonna leave it as is. And that was all for this project. Turned out so cute. I hope you love the idea. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Let's take a look at the end result. Creative Squad, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to let me know in the comments down below what your favorite DIY is. And don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on my next DIY. Bye! For this project, I'm going to use two of these Dollar Tree wooden planks. They're 2x18. I'm going to use green paint. Ignore the candle holder. We're not going to use it. And I'm going to use some greenery. We'll need another extra piece and you'll see. First thing I'm going to do is take my first wooden plank and I'm going to mark at 5.5 inches. Then I'll trace that line. I'll mark it again. And then the bottom line is going to be, the bottom piece is actually going to be like about 7 inches. So then I'll take the other piece, I'll mark those lines, and then using my saw, I'm going to trim those pieces. Now, here are all the pieces together. What I'm gonna need is a bottom piece, and I did not have a Dollar Tree wooden plank that I could use, so I will be using that scrap of wood, but Dollar Tree does carry those wooden planks. You could definitely grab them from there. I believe this one measures about 9 inches. I needed that to be a little bit longer. That's why I don't end up using the Dollar Tree one. Now I'm going to start gluing the first 3 pieces. As you remember, we have a longer one. That one's going to go at the bottom, and then I'll place the other 2 small ones. Now off camera, I do the second one, and here they are. Now I'm going to take this green paint I found at Hobby Lobby. It was only 49 cents. It's a pretty good color.
together. They had different colors and I've never seen them before. I believe it's called Crafty, but very, very good quality for a 49-cent paint. I highly recommend it. Now, to help this process go a little faster, I'm using my Hebe Crafter heat gun to dry this paint off so we can move to the next step. Now, here are my 3 pieces together. I'm going to be taking my 2 pieces, and I'm sure you already know what we're making. We're making a little Christmas tree out of wood. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the bottom piece, just a little bit to where it's going to hold our piece. Now we will reinforce it here in a second. I do end up adding a little bit of glue on the other side as well, just a tiny bit, because I don't want that to like push up and then have lumps of glue. Then I will add some glue to the top, and with a silicone cover, finger cover, I'm gonna wipe it because I don't want that to be a big bump. And then we're gonna paint this later. Now once it's dry, I knock it down so I can add a lot more glue very carefully, because remember, we did not put a lot of glue there. So I take that little tree and you can already see what it's looking like, and then I add a lot of hot glue. And this glue gun is actually very, very good. It heats up really hot, and then when it dries, it really tightens those things and rarely come apart. Check out the link in my description box. Now, while that dries down, I take this fluorofoam. This is an optional step. From there, you can decorate it however you want, but I think this is a super, super cute. So I take that fluorofoam and then I add a bunch of moss to it. I glue it to the sides. That way, it doesn't come apart. Then once it's all glued together, I am going to take some greenery and we will decorate it. Now this greenery is from Walmart. I bought it last year. I had it laying around and I was like, I really love that one, so I'm gonna use it. So I cut little pieces. I also add some of the Dollar Tree, those with the white berries is from Dollar Tree. And then I end up taking those berries off later because I don't like them. As you can see now, I'm gonna remove them because I just didn't think it went with the colors I had in mind. So I removed the white berries and I just used the greenery. Then once I add all the greenery I want there, then I'm gonna add this adorable Santa that I found at Dollar Tree. It's super cute. I really like him and I think it gives it that pop of Christmas we need. Then I'm gonna add a few ornaments as well from Dollar Tree, and I think they go so well with the colors I got going on. And I'm gonna place 4 of them in there. And now it's time to put our piece together, and this turns out super cute. I absolutely love it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let's take a look at the end result. Creative Squad, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're loving the first DIY. Don't worry, I got more coming. I wanted to stop and say hi and also remind you that there is many more DIYs on my channel that are so good and I know you're gonna love them. So check the link down below in my description box. Also, don't forget to check my Instagram, especially TikTok, because I do post other content that does not make it to this channel and I know you're gonna love. Thank you so much for watching. Let's jump back into the video. Creative Squad, for this project, I'm going to use that Wreath Floral Foam, a bag of scented potpourri. I hope I'm saying that right. I had no idea that's what it was called. Anyways, I'm going to need some ribbon. I'm also going to use, you can either use a sign from Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using that wooden round that I already had on hand. And then I'm going to use a wooden dowel. It can be as thick as you want. And then some white spray paint. First thing I'm going to do is take the floral wreath and we are going to add the wooden dowels. Those measure 6 inches, and then I'm gonna use a pencil to create the hole, and then I'm gonna put the wooden dowels there. Then after that, I'm gonna add some hot glue and I'm gonna glue those down. I do stand it up, that way I can see that the wooden dowels are straight. And then once that is there, we are going to move to add this scented potpourri, I think it's called. Anyways, we're gonna use that to cover up the entire wreath. I use hot glue to glue those down, and then it takes a little bit of time, so be patient. I thought this was going to be fast, but it's not. But I promise you it's going to be so worth it. It looks so good at the end. Now I'm going to do different sizes. They don't need to be the same. I used everything this bag had, and I had very little left. Then once I am done, and this is what it looks like on both sides, and don't worry, those holes were not gonna see them. Next, I take a lighter and run it all around to burn those little strings down. Then after that, we're gonna take it outside and I'm going to spray paint it. I do a whole bunch of spray paint, just make sure everything is covered up but that you're not able to see that floral wreath. And then don't forget the wooden dowels too. Now here is what it looks like once it's all painted. Now next step is placing this on top and see where we're going to be drilling holes so we can stick this on there. Now once I figured it out, I went with my drill. I set this on top of a little box I had just to make sure that I wasn't gonna like drill my table, and I ended up drilling the box. So there is that. The next one was a little bit easier and I didn't drill anything else but what I was supposed to. Then here is our two pieces. Now I'm gonna add some hot glue, a little bit of glue, because I don't want this to like come up and like make a mess, so just a little bit. Then I place my wreath right on top, and this is what it's looking so far. Then you can leave it as is or you can add any decoration you want. Now I end up using these ribbons from Dollar Tree, and I did a little simple bow. Then once I was happy with the size I wanted it to be, then I just trim it, dovetail the ends, and that is all for this project. It was so easy to do. I really love the look of it, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let's take a look at the end result. For this project, I'm going to be using that candle holder we did not use earlier. I'm going to use one of these Christmas ornaments from Hobby Lobby, a candle, and some green spray paint. I'm going to use some ribbons from Dollar Tree and some random greenery I had. We used it on the first project as well. First thing I'm going to do is take my green spray paint and we are going to spray paint our candle holder. Now it was about to rain, there was a storm coming, so I was trying to hurry up. Once I spray painted, I left it outside to dry, and we move on to the ornament. Now I'm sorry this part of the video looks blurry. I did not realize my camera was dirty, so I am so sorry. But the point here is I'm gonna paint this ornament. I did not want a lot of colors going on, but I did absolutely love that green color we used earlier, so I used it for the pine trees, and then I used some white for the snowflakes and the snow, and then the rest I am going to be using some gold paint that I already had. All of these paints will be linked in the description box if you're interested. You can also just paint this one color and you'll be done. I absolutely love these ornaments. Like I said, I picked them up from Hobby Lobby. They were $2.40 something and they had 50% off, so you get two of them, and I think it's a great deal. Be sure to check them out because they have adorable Christmas decorations. So yeah, there is that. Now the next tip is to grab my greenery. I don't show this part because I feel like I do this all the time, but if you need me to include it in every single video, I absolutely don't mind. Now I just take some greenery, tie it together, then I just did that little red bow, glue it right on top, and then I'm gonna take our Christmas ornament that we just painted and we are going to glue that right behind. And then after that, all is left is to place our candle holder in the back. The idea is to make it glow and then reflect those shapes on the ornament. I think it does a okay job. I think I need a stronger, or I guess a brighter candle, but overall I really love this DIY. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and let's check out the end result.
For this project, I'm going to be using these items from Dollar Tree: a wooden plank, 2 wreath hangers, 2 candle holders, some green moss. I'm also going to use some greenery, and I'm going to use some white paint and a floral foam. The first thing I'm going to do is take the wooden plank and I'm going to paint mine white. You can paint it any color you like or leave it as is. I don't paint this fully on the other side. I leave the center alone. Next, I'm going to take the 2 red hangers and I'm going to unfold the squared end. Later on, I do decide to remove it and I will show you how. For now, if you want to use it as long as it is, then take some pliers and just push into the crease and that will help you unfold that end. And there you have it. Okay, I forgot to mention this, but you will also need 4 tumbling blocks. I don't have any, so what I did is grab some scraps of wood I had laying around and I cut it small, and I took some gold acrylic paint and I paint all those 4 pieces. And now it's time to start putting these pieces together. So what I'm going to do is take the tumbling blocks and I'm going to place them on top of the red hangers just to see where I need to glue my wooden plank. And as you can see, I left the inside of the wooden plank plain because I thought it would be easier to glue the foam later on. Now here is where I decide to remove the ends because I did not like the creases, and as you can see, it was so easy. You just bend it down and they come right off, and they are gonna get a little shorter, but I prefer them this way. Now once I figure out where each block is going to go, I take some hot glue and start gluing them. I did go back later and added some E6000 because the hot glue was not holding onto the metal, so I highly suggest you to get some E6000 and use that instead of the hot glue if you don't want to have to be dealing with the metal pieces coming off. Now for the top, I'm gonna add some hot glue and glue my wooden plank on there. I noticed that the tumbling blocks attached to the top wooden piece were not having an issue on gluing. It was more so the metal with the little tumbling blocks. So I would say use E6000 for best results. Then after everything is glued together, our sleigh is coming to life. Now we gotta give it more life. I'm gonna hot glue the floral foam into the middle of our sleigh, and then after that, I'm going to take my greenery and cut all those pieces apart so it's easier to place them on there. Now I'm gonna take some hot glue and the floral moss and I'm going to start gluing that onto it. I choose to add some hot glue onto it so it can hold it in. I don't add a whole bunch because I do need the space to be able to stick our greenery in there. So this is what it looks like once it's all fully completed with moss. Then I start with the greenery, placing it all around. Then I remember I need to place my candle holders first before we continue, and that's what I do. I find their spots. I don't glue these ones. These ones are very heavy and I don't think they're gonna go anywhere. Then I added all the greenery, and after that was placed, I started adding the white, sparkly, and silver greenery. And now all is left is to add some candles to the candle holders, and that is all for this DIY. I love how this Christmas sled centerpiece turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let's take a look at the end result. Creative Squad, I hope you loved the first idea. Do not leave because I got another one coming and I know you're gonna love it. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and also check out my Instagram, especially TikTok, because I do post extra content over there. Ideas that don't make it to this channel, but they are great as well. Thank you so much for watching. Let's jump into the next DIY. For the next project, I'm using this scrap of wood in the shape of a triangle. That Christmas tree that is actually from Hobby Lobby, I purchased it last year. That pack of stars, the candle holder, and also some ribbon from Dollar Tree and some greenery. The next step is to choose the color you want to paint your Christmas tree. I mixed this green apple barrel paint with some black and created this dark green color that I really love. Now, I was looking at my Dollar Tree for Christmas wooden trees, but I could not find any because they don't have that much Christmas stuff out. And so I had to cut my own. So I'm sorry I don't have one to reference, just use whatever you have handy. The next step, I'm gonna take 2 of the stars from that Dollar Tree pack and some gold paint, and I will paint one of them. The other one, I'm gonna leave it alone. The plain one, I'm gonna glue it to the green tree, and the gold one, I'm going to glue it to the white tree. Again, those little adorable Christmas trees are from Hobby Lobby. I bought it last year, and I think it was a pack of 3, and they were very cheap. I just can't remember how much, probably $2-3. It was very worth it. So check out Hobby Lobby because they do carry some adorable stuff that are Dollar Tree priced. And now I'm going to take the Dollar Tree candle holder. As you can see, mine was already painted. Just paint it any color you want. I'm going to leave mine white because I just think all these colors are going to pop more on that white candle holder. Next, I'm gluing the 2 little trees together. And then I'm going to glue those to the candle holder. Once they are all glued together, you can leave it as is, or you can go the extra step and add some greenery and some ribbon. I am using this greenery from Dollar Tree. I found it last year, and I'm sure they're gonna be back with some more that is cuter and newer. Like I said, my Dollar Tree does not have a lot of the Christmas stuff out yet, but you know, just find whatever you can. And then this is just an idea. Then I grabbed this Dollar Tree ribbon, and I created a cute bow because I really needed to cover that space. Then I decided to add the pop of red and zip tied both of those together. And then I'm just gonna glue the greenery right on top, and that is going to be all. This is such an easy DIY. You can create a bunch of them and lay them on your mantle or use them for whatever you want. I think it turns out super cute. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And now let's take a look at the end result.